So important things have color, like his green eyes. He looks nothing like his chibi form. Huff. Another long day. Street lamps are already on, and I haven't been in my office yet. I should check my computer. I'm sure I have at least a few emails waiting by now. Although, if it's the commissioner volunteering me for more debriefs, I'll have to put my paw down. Oh, did you? It just released for, I think, $9.99 or $8.99. Alright, let's see if the old litter box still works. I just need to log in and... Huh? It won't take my password. Oh, he forgot his password. I do this all the time. Something here has my whiskers twitching. This might turn into a regular investigation. I hate when I put the forget my password thing and then I have to put in a new password and they're like, can't use the same password. Oh, that makes me mad. Livid. I'll start tracking all my leads on this bulletin board in case I need to reference them again. Let's see, what should I look at? The desk. It's possible I just wrote the password down and threw it on my desk drawers. Okay, not in the top drawer. Surely it'll be in the bottom drawer. Aha! This must be it. Wait, no. This is just a standard department business card. Following procedure requires I enter it into evidence, but unfortunately this might be more serious than it seems. The phone. I could call the department secretary for help if they hadn't already gone home for the day. A business card I found in the drawers of my desk. It's a business card printed on quality paper, although age has weathered the once white sheen to yellow. On the card, depicted in black ink, that is the department logo and general information as the office address and phone number. Oh, have a good walk. Be safe. Don't let those spooky day skinwalkers get you. I guess we'll look at the computer again. The computer. Nothing's changed. My computer's still locked. I probably shouldn't try the password until I'm sure I know what it is. Emergencies only. Extension 1029. Oh, of course. I knew there was something else here. Why didn't I think to flip the business card over? Tutorial failed me. There was no tutorial. The extension written here belongs to the department manager. Luckily, I would classify this as an emergency. I should give them a call immediately and let them know what's going on. I'm great. I think you already said you're good, but never hurts to ask again. I don't think we have one yet, but maybe in the future. Now that I have the department manager's extension, I can give them a call about my computer. Good evening, detective. Oh, good evening, detective. I hope this is important because I'm in the middle of dinner with my family. Apologies, but we might have a security issue. My computer's password has inexplicably changed. I hate to break this news to you, detective, but the inexplicable is in fact quite explicable. Oh. If I do recall, this is the second time this week you've interrupted my wife's delicious home-cooked meal. I'm sorry? Oh, somebody stole my password. Oh, God, the detective manager's the devil. He gave away our password. From what I could gather, you were on another milk-fueled bender. Through slurred speech, you told me you changed your own password. And this is the part where I'm so embarrassed you tell me the password, correct? I would consider, but I would consider it. But you also informed me that you hid it somewhere. Somewhere that only a detective of your caliber would be able to find. Oh, never mind. I guess I did change my own password. Why would I do that? So get on with it, and ensure that not a single report on this matter is out of place tomorrow. And let me reiterate, while you're in your right mind, do not call me again unless it is a real emergency. Click. Oh, that's rude. I think if I had just forgotten my password, this wouldn't be as humiliating. Either way, not my proudest moment, but I can make up for that, even if I am technically this crime's primary suspect. Retracing my steps, following the proper timeline, and correcting any inconsistencies in the case notes will be paramount. Without the correct password, he cannot unlock the computer in his office or check his email. The detective left his office late last night, and at some point after, the department network was hacked. The next day, the detective attempted to log into his office computer, but found that the password had been changed. Testimonies? Oh. Ah, I see. That makes sense. The department manager did confirm that nothing was hacked. Embarrassingly, just a bit too much indulgence on my part. That being said, I've only got a rough outline from here, and that won't settle for anything less than perfection. Oh, how's the firework workshop going, Kasu? It's time to thoroughly investigate the rest of my office and use my journal to fill in every blank necessary. You've learned almost everything. You haven't taught me anything. You literally haven't taught me anything. Everything you need to fill the detective's shoes. So let's put these sleuthing skills to the test. Did you know you can rotate the camera? Well, this is nice. Or if you need to get around quicker, use the RT for the zoomies button. Oh wait. It's my old map of historic Philadelphia. But I don't remember all these thumbtacks in it. They're even holding a thin shred of paper to various addresses in the city. But no one seems more important than another. How? How? I think it might be impossible to know where to go with this lead until I have more clues. The unknown password. According to the department manager, I changed my old computer password and hid it somewhere in my office. Looks like I've got a mystery to solve. It's possible I hid the password within the potting soil of this plant. However, until I have a compelling reason to believe that, I'm not willing to make a mess of the hardwood floor. Is there something over here to investigate? The bookshelf. This shelf is absolutely packed with different tomes, journals, studies, and the occasional novelization. Oh yeah, probably. I would assume, but I don't know. I don't know how I'm number 6. I think it's rigged. Thanks for lurking, Nona. If I hid some sort of clue in one of these books, it would take me far longer to find it than it's worth. I wouldn't put it past myself, but I don't have anything to go on yet. The filing cabinets. They're usually just for keeping contracts, reference documents, and various policy paperwork. I can't imagine I would have slid a note with the password on it into this mess of a drawer. Even under a strong influence of dairy, I wouldn't have done something so reckless. When you need to dig up the truth, you've gotta act like an alley cat. Empty milk carton, comically clean fish bones, used yarn ball. Ugh, none of this looks very helpful. Wait a minute, there's a crumpled receipt, and it looks like I've redacted most of it. Nothing about the actual purchase remains, and only the store's address is left visible. Where could this lead me? Official Investigator's Journal was provided by the Feline Forensics Private Detective Agency. Correct sections look like this. No need to do anything else. Closed sections look like this. You have 2 or fewer incorrect. Wrong sections look like this. Puzzle-solving assistance can be enabled in the options, and doesn't affect any achievements. No, I'm not doing that. That's cheating. That's cheating! Left visible on the receipt, 13th North 2nd Street. Having successfully laid his... Thank you, Vice. Appreciate the alert, bro. Laid his plot, and proud of his mastermind scheme, the detective called the department manager before finally retiring for the evening. The next day, the detective attempted to log in, but found that the computer password. Let's see what we can find over here. The Cat Tower. One might ask himself, why would any self-respecting feline investigator keep one of these demeaning furniture pieces in their professional office? It was a gift from some old co-workers who thought they were being exceptionally humorous. Also, it keeps my claws properly managed, and sometimes it helps me think. The filing cabinet. I have a few of these cabinets to keep track of all my previous cases. Oh, of course it's not unlocked. Those records are pretty confidential. Wait, I don't like these. Not since I kept misplacing the key. I'm certain this is significant. I might have put my password in here, or at the very least, another clue. Oh yeah, the crumpled receipt did have an address on it, though. What was it again? 13 North 2nd Street. I don't recall what's around here, but the slip of paper does have a phone number written on it. Looks like it's time to make another call. Let's see, what should I take a look at? The phone. Let's give the number I found on the map a call. Hopefully they're still open, and they can make sense of this receipt. Good evening. Bookgator on second. What can I do for you? Of course, the local bookstore. How could I forget? Sir, did you need help with anything? Hello, yes, sir. Yes, sorry, I do actually. This might be an odd question, but I have a receipt, and I'm not sure what it was that I purchased. Heh, I've been expecting your call, detective. Of course you were. Care to explain why? You stumbled in disgruntled after an argument with this devious plan. I didn't ask questions, but you warned me this call was likely. Oh dear. Now about that book. Please, tell me it's not something terribly inappropriate. Not quite, no. The book's title is On the Historical Development of Cat Burglary. Okay, thank you. That'll be all. Sure you don't need anything else, detective? No, really, it's okay. Thank you. Click. Okay, as if I wasn't embarrassed enough as it is. Poor drunk cat. Detective got into an intellectual argument with another patron and vowed to prove he was confusingly a detective so spectacular he could outshoot sleuth himself. The bookstore, I like all these different screens. It helps me not remember or forget what I read. The bookstore clerk described the book I purchased to me over the phone. If it's on my bookshelf somewhere, I should be able to find it now. Disposed receipt I found in my office trash bin, and the shred of paper it led me to. Most of this information on this receipt has been redacted, which is not a normal practice detectives such as myself, especially not for consumers. There's a string of numbers left visible, presumably identifying the purchase item internally. There's also an address visible, which has led me to another clue. The additional clue was a slip of paper, handwritten on a scrap of paper, phone number, and blah. Is there something over here to investigate? This shelf is absolutely packed with different tomes. I really like how they highlight the things that you've already seen again, if you have something new to interact with. Because it's far too often you have to re-interact with something and you don't know if you're going to get something new or not. That's really nice. With different tomes, journals, Florida. Why is Florida trying to kill you in spoops, Nona? Journals, studies, and the occasional novelization. The clerk said the book in question had something to do with cat burglary. So where is it? Dignity and Domestication by the Great Dane Austin. Les Miserables by Vernon Hugo. Called Wild by Jack London. Okay, more novels than I thought. But hey, these are classics. Oh, here's the one I'm looking for. The question now is, why would I have purchased this book specifically? I found the book I apparently purchased. Even the store clerks seem to be hiding something about it. Its title is On Historical Development of Cat Burglary. It's a dissertation. I have evil Florida. I apparently purchased from the local bookstore and then stashed within the various other tomes. Y'all could keep the hot heat down there because it's been kind of nice in North Carolina. On my office bookshelf, the subject matter seems fairly heavy. Deriving any clues from it may be a challenge. Was that why I chose it in the pursuit to out-detective myself? Vibrating. Don't open. Open it. Great job, detective. Oh, of course. I know there was something else here. I bought a whole trick book. No wonder the bookstore clerk was holding back a laugh. With my cabinet key hidden inside, no less. I think we're nearing the end of this case. Good thing the trains will still be running for a little longer. Let's see what we can find over here. The filing cabinet. What's up, Ainsley? We're playing a cat game. You should love this. How are you, bro? I've got the key now. So let's get this locked cabinet opened up and see what we find. There's a note right on the top. A great change of pace. Or maybe I was just getting lazy. There doesn't seem to be any cipher or code either. This just looks like a normal password. I should try it, and then make sure all my notes are in order. I wouldn't want to attract any more ire from the department manager than I already have. Now that I have everything straight, I should make sure my records reflect that, especially if the department manager demands some accountability. Prior to placing the book on his office shelf, the detective stashed the cabinet key with the book's secret compartment. I see, that makes sense. Of course, the reason for this entire mystery locked up tight in a lone filing cabinet. Luckily, I haven't forgotten about it twice, at least not yet. A once well-hidden reminder of my new password. In the pursuit of proving I could out-detect it myself, I changed my office computer password and hid this reminder behind a series of puzzles and hidden clues. Whether a locked cabinet, a hollow book, or a cryptic map of addresses, or embarrassing phone calls, it didn't stay secret for long. The password is written in newspaper and magazine scraps, and reads as the cat's meow. Oh, maybe locked? Thank God. Sheesh. That could have gone either way. That's really annoying, actually. Aha. I knew I was onto something. While a fantastic treat, a night out at the Milks Bar might cause me more trouble than it's worth. Oh! Why is the phone ringing? Could it be the manager already? Let's see. Oh, the phone? Actually, let's do the computer before the phone. I've got the password, supposedly. Now for the moment of truth. Is it possible this has been a red herring all along? Oh, it works. I'm logged in, and I have exactly 0 emails that require my attention. It's a relief. Of course, but I shouldn't leave the phone ringing much longer. Hello, Feline Forensics Private Detective. Oh, they're the commissioner. Detective, I'm glad to hear you're burning the midnight oil. Commissioner? To what do I owe the pleasure? Business, not pleasure. There's been an incident, private property. They asked for you. I'm sending a cruiser. The officer will fill you in on the way. The case seems pretty involved, but it's still within my jurisdiction. You will go by the book, Detective. I'm sure you're aware that if you don't, your license will be on the line again. Click. What a ray of sunshine the commissioner is these days. Gonna be an even later night than I thought. Evening, officer. What are we looking at this time? Oh, detective, no need to be so formal, although we are headed to a pretty fancy museum, so maybe I spoke too soon. Honk! The one on the east side of town. What happened? Sounds like an attempted heist, gone sideways. Nobody was able to flee the scene, but an important exhibit has gone missing. Not sure if it was one of those thieves, another visitor, or staff member, but they said somebody might have been shot in the process. Oh dear. Let's hope things have been kept under control since. They made it seem like the scenario was contained, but you'll also have to make that call yourself. I don't know much more than that, but we'll be there soon. And here we are. Told you it wouldn't take long. Always a pleasure. Wish me luck. I have a feeling this is going to be a long night. Good luck, Detective. I'm sure everything will be fine. And I know you like to work alone, but if you need some help from the department, just give us a call on that payphone over there. We'll see if that's necessary. For now, it's time to get to work. Look at that swan. How pretty. The plaque reads, Honk! The Herald Angel. By an unknown artist. A wonderful and timeless depiction of Mother Goose, agents of peace. That said, the biblically accurate sculptures are more compelling. We're zooming. It's a sign for the museum, with the namesake Kreinberg and the official logo illuminated by a few small spotlights. No one would have suspected, a heist turned murder. Well, I guess it could be a murder turned heist. These are the kind of questions I'll need to answer with my expert feline sleuthing skill. Meeting our suspects. I've arrived at the museum, where this supposed murder turned heist took place earlier in the night. I should get inside and start investigating. Oh, detective! Thank goodness you're finally arrived. I'm the curator of this museum. And the one that called the police. Thank you for coming on such short notice. For crime, there's no such thing as... For crime, there's no such thing as short notice, and a detective must always be prepared to put a stop to it. Yes, well, please work with the utmost efficiency. A catastrophe of this scale could be a disaster. If word got out that our most precious gemstone was stolen, who knows what could happen. Not only would the museum's reputation be forever marred, we could be the target of even more horrid criminals. You're understandably concerned, but I assure you, I'll sort this out. This is far from my first case. Well, we're gonna have a lot of ducks on stream today, so... we'll make up for it with fake ducks. Although, if my debrief was accurate, there was also an unfortunate murder in the process. Is that right? Ah, yes. That punk. I just hate to even think about it. I suppose you should take care of that as well. But in my opinion, the sooner we get the innocent people on, the better. A rushed investigation leads to sloppy work, so I can't promise this will be quick or easy. Regardless, I trust you will do your best, and if you could keep me posted on your progress, it would be greatly appreciated. I think that chicken has an earring, so I'm assuming it's a female, but it might not be. I don't know. Of course. I have several things to discuss if we could. I was like, what? If we could. Personal questions. Ask away, detective. Who are you? As I said before, I'm the purveyor of this prestigious museum. Past that, there isn't much to disclose. Do you have any associations? Outside your work here? Family, perhaps? This is vital to solving our case, detective. Otherwise, I'd request that you inquire no further. Certainly could be, depending on how it continues to unfold. Oh yeah, that's true. Right, I do have a family, and I'm currently separated from them over personal matters. And I can assure you, they have nothing to do with the stolen gemstone or the murder, unless you like to interrogate them unnecessarily as well. As always, I appreciate the cooperation. Let's move on. I would expect nothing less. What do you do? I manage the museum staff, exhibitions, publicity, funding, and just about everything. Wouldn't it be easier to delegate some of that work? Well, you see, we simply don't have the extra revenue to accommodate that. While incredibly valuable to the human condition, a museum of this caliber is hardly ever profitable. Oh, my apologies if this is a sore subject. I simply don't enjoy the idea that one would look at what we do here and assume it's all that easy. It requires hard work and sacrifice, detective. It's not a sore subject, it's a harsh reality. Of course. Again, my sincerest apologies. Let's get to another question about the museum. Alright, let me provide a brief overview of the layouts so you know what you're dealing with. Currently, we're standing in the museum's foyer, which has the only exterior doorway. In the east wing, we have the sculpture gallery, featuring contemporary works. On the west side is where we display works of natural history with geological and pre-civilization origins. The central connecting exhibit is the courtyard, just so to the north of us now. Further north, exactly like those, Nona. Further north, we have antiquities, host to several artifacts and art pieces spanning global cultures and eras. On the second floor, there is only one unique gallery, fine art, typically canvas. Of course, as you investigate, you'll notice there are balconies that look down into the view of the first floor exhibits as well. I hope that's helpful, detective, but you can always reference the brochure map if you get lost somehow. Very helpful, thank you. Do you mind if I ask a few more Actually, about today's events,
Go on then.
Before.
Yes, before.
What were you doing?
During operator hours, I don't do much except greet visitors, and today was no exception. On days when we're particularly busy, I may mingle and let the guards stand station, but that wasn't the case today. Up until the argument began upstairs, nothing seemed out of place. The guard and I were here having an idle chat.
Unfortunate that it couldn't stay that way. Could I ask a few more questions then?
Certainly.
What happened?
Let's see. The guard and I heard an argument beginning upstairs, but it wasn't an immediate concern to me. I didn't want him to make a scene, but it continued to heat up on its own. Then we heard the gunshots moments later. Even with the accompanying sound of broken glass, my instinct was to make sure the guide was safe. I thought she was in the sculpture gallery, but the guard found her in the antiquities, stunned, called for me, and I ran right over. And it was true, she was frozen solid, startled by the cacophonous noise. The guard was concerned, of course, but took off toward the blaring alarm. Despite the chaos of it all, I maintained my focus on her. Eventually, I got through, and do you know the first thing she said to me, Detective? Call the police! Immediately looking out for the museum, so selfless to a fault. I went back to the foyer to do just that, but the tourists and artists were there, begging that I release the lockdown. I didn't know who was responsible for this mess, so I brushed him off without much opposition and made the call.
I see. Let's move on to another topic then. Upon entering the museum, I was greeted by the curator, who gave me an overview of the incident that occurred just hours earlier. I should inquire with them for more specific detail, but I also need to speak with everyone else who was present. Hey, hold it right there. Did you pay a mission when you came in? Oh, got you good, didn't I? The little security joke is all. Always good to meet another agent of Lady Justice, Detective. What can I do for you? I'm hoping you can assist my Oh, absolutely. Anything you need at the drop of a hat. Just by answering a few questions for now, I need to be clear that even as the museum guard, you aren't exonerated here. Of course. I wouldn't have it any other way. Not only am I loyal to the law, I'm loyal to this museum, and the wrongs against it must be righted. Let's start with a few questions, if you wouldn't mind. The bear didn't do it. 10-4, good buddy. Who are you? Not much to brag about in that detective. What do you do in your free time? I have to keep up with various TV shows and movies, but don't we all? It's not very interesting. I read whole bunch too. Talk about boring. Ho 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 ho. I don't think that's boring. Honestly, I wish I had time for more of that kind of thing. I used to say the same thing, believe it or not. But if you don't make time to enjoy things, there won't be much of you left. Just a couple whiskers and a suit. I mean, let's stay on topic. Do you have any family, friends? Couple buddies from back in the day. We're starting to feel like we're worlds apart, you know. A wife at home, but no kids. She has some great friends, longtime friends, and they call me friend. I'm alright with that. I understand. Let's continue on, yes? Absolutely. I'm an open book and full of pictures. What do you do? I keep the peace within the marble walls. A much more manageable scale than I'm sure you deal with, Detective. On the regular, sure. But for tonight, we have that in common. Oh, you got that right. As far as my day-to-day is concerned, we don't really get much commotion around here. Was there a time when disturbances were more typical? Oh, no, I guess not. But we had more people around overall, you see. Hey, if all else fails, maybe this whole debacle will get the museum some attention again. That'd really be something, huh? I suppose anything's possible. Why don't we discuss something else? Absolutely. I'm an open book and full of pictures. About today's events. Got the green to go ahead, Detective. What were you doing? As per usual, I was hanging around the foyer, having a little chat with the curator. When things are especially slow, I might take a walk around the exhibits or get some fresh air, but I was feeling a little more lazy today. Oh boy, that doesn't sound good, does it? I don't want you thinking I was neglecting my duties. Thing is, nothing seemed weird. It was all totally normal morning, afternoon, and evening. I understand. So none of the guests acted strangely? We get all walks of life, and I do my best not to judge one way or another, huh? So nah, not so much. In all things considered, this feels like per circumstance to me, Detective. I see. Interesting. Why don't we discuss some more then? Absolutely. I'm an open book full of pictures. What happened? Oh dear, where do I begin? The curator and I heard an argument upstairs. I was ready to go defuse the situation, but the curator was hoping it would solve itself. I don't quite understand it, but in my personal experience, artists tend to hold strong opinions, so I trusted the curator's judgment call for a moment. But I made my way into the courtyard when it heated up. The fight was upstairs, though, so I just had to keep moving through. A few moments later, a gunshot! Shattered glass soon after, and I didn't skip a beat. Some habits die hard, I guess. Well, I got to antiquities and found the guide, stopped in her tracks. Maybe I should have kept moving, but I had to make sure she was okay. It's admirable, at the very least. I'm sure she appreciated it. You're probably right, but I wasn't actually much help. Nothing I could say had her come to. I called for the curator. Since there was still the matter of whatever went down in natural history. I got there at about the same time as the podcaster, but she knew just as much as I did, and that wasn't much. The display was already destroyed, so to save the diamond or the victim, I was too slow again. If there was anything left to do, it was to call the police. Thankfully, the curator was already on the line, and things had mostly calmed down by then. I appreciate the thorough recollection. Let's move on to something else. Absolutely. I'm an open book and full of pictures. Standing by for inquiry, Detective. About the alarm. Oh yeah, that's a pretty impressive resume, Hinesley, but I still think you're wrong. We'll see. We shall see. Oh yeah, well, you see, the amazing thing is that it's real smart. It can tell who's who and do what it's gotta do real accurate too. That's hardly. Ha 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 ha. Certainly, there's some downside to it, no? Oh, nail on the head, Detective. When it was installed, they told us it was a little slow. It doesn't make mistakes because for a computer, it takes its time. Although for a person like you or me, that's still pretty dang fast. It just has to, I don't know, double check, I guess. It has a way of being selective, only looking down what's necessary and trying to minimize panic in a chaotic situation. Come to think of it, the actual sound of the alarm was supposed to be one of the more severe stages of lockdown. The old guy who used to work on it could tell you more, but we've never seen it in action before today. Maybe try asking the curator. I think I will, but until then, I have a few other things to discuss. What did you do before? I worked as a policeman for a while, but not as long as we expected at the time. You certainly don't look like you've reached retirement age. Ho 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 ho. Young for retirement, sure, but not that young. Young for retirement, sure, but not that young. Most folks stay in the field for a long time. Wasn't for me though. I grew up with police dramas and was big enough to deal with bullies, but the concept of bullies is a bit more difficult when you're an adult. Nail on the head, Detective. Don't get me wrong, but there were times when it was very clear, just not always. Even instances that were clear in the beginning became murky down the road or in retrospect. Eventually, parting ways with the force seemed like the best decision. I came to that conclusion sometime later. By that you mean it wasn't entirely your choice. Highly encouraged choice, perhaps. A tale that is too uncommon, I think. Can we discuss something else? Alright, this definitely seems to be the epicenter of our case. Looks like the victim is here, lying on their back, just south of a destroyed display case that stands in the exact middle of the room. Several dotted blood spatters across the floor, along with a few pieces of what appears to be stone debris. Other artwork looks to be unaffected, and a witness at the scene. No shortage of places to start, so let's get to it. Ugh. This has always been my least favorite part of the job. Victim presents male, likely mid-20s in age, 4 facial piercings, and wearing a leather jacket. Initial signs show 2 impact wounds to the back of the head, all things considered, minimal blood loss. And, nothing on his persons, no wallets, keys, not even an ID. Poor guy. I'll figure out what happened here, don't worry. This is a pedestal where the stolen gemstone was once displayed. What should I investigate here? The exhibit placard. The plaque reads, Optimus Diamond, circa 1700. Where could you be hiding, precious little stone? Broken case. Seems like a classic smash and grab. There are stones strewn across the floor, so it's possible the thief used them to break the glass case. I'll put this statue chunk into evidence, just in case I can learn anything from looking it over. It doesn't seem like there's any other incriminating details here, though. Never that easy anymore, is it? Was once part of a museum exhibit before being destroyed, a fragment of an art piece carved from stone and depicting the facial structure of an ancient species. It's believed that the largest versions were used as symbolic and ritualistic movements. Despite their durability, there are not many still in existence, especially at this size, and now unfortunately there's one less. Will examining it closer provide any deeper insights into what happened? There it goes. Screw or something. Oh, of course. I knew there was something else here. While it may have broken further in the fall, it was certainly destroyed prior. Assuming at least that this is the flattened tip of some ammunition. I wonder where the casing is hidden. Finding that would help me track down the murder weapon.
Hi, Detective. I just want to say it's like so awesome to meet a real, almost somewhat famous Philadelphian investigator in person. Oh, and I absolutely cannot wait to tell you all about my show. Would you be willing to do an interview?
I'm sorry, your show?
I'm a true crime podcaster. It's called Tales of the Dark and Desperate, and this episode is about to go hella viral.
Wait. Are you recording right now?
No, I didn't bring my equipment. Ugh! What an absolute rookie mistake. Like 5 listeners and episode level amateur.
Oh.
By the way, you should seriously subscribe. You have your phone on you, right? Just let me look myself up and hit the button quick. No big deal.
I actually don't keep a mobile phone on me. Personal technology would be a distraction at the crime scene.
Oof, that is actually so sad.
Okay, we have things to discuss. Let's stay on topic, please.
Like, whatever you need, Detective.
Personal questions.
Oh, like, totally.
Who are you?
Oh, come on, Detective. I told you about my podcast. Are you saying you didn't go and read my bio? You're not a big reader. Watch my daily vlog. That'll give you the general vibe. Well, it was gonna be daily, then it was weekly, but now I kinda just post whenever. Last one was pretty old, so it'll be out of date, but yeah.
Apologies, but I am not going to watch your vlog, so please, if you could provide a brief answer to the question, that would be appreciated.
Rude. The least you could do is submit your questions to my word vlog. Can't do it anonymously if you want.
I'm sorry, but isn't a vlog just a video blog? So a word vlog is a normal blog. Actually, never mind. I've learned plenty. Let's change topics.
Like whatever you need, Detective.
What do you do?
I have a true crime podcast called Tales of the Dark and Desperate, so make sure to totally obliterate that subscribe button so you don't miss an episode. Wait, haven't I told you about this already, Detective?
You have. I was asking more about what you do in a professional sense.
Are you trying to say what I do isn't professional enough? Huh, gotcha. Oof, too easy, Detective. I work at a coffee shop, but that's like so boring. Punch in, punch out. You know how it is. But after this episode absolutely pops off, I'm gonna quit so fast, or at least like quiet quit. I still need health insurance or whatever.
Of course. Why don't we talk about something else? You have quite a passionate interest. Why is that?
Oh, I know a trick question when I hear one, Detective. Of course I love crime. Crime solving.
Crime solving. Do you have a background in criminology?
That sounds like a question I can only answer behind the paywall. Did you know you can unlock great perks like this on my pitch?
That won't be necessary. By the long pile of the law, let's stay on topic.
Like, true crime is trendy, so that was a good start. But then, I don't know, it was genuinely fascinating. In all honesty, I'm pretty normal. My life has been, like, pretty easy. There's people out there that have definitely not have it easy. Trying to step into the shoes of a criminal is one thing, but thinking about everyone around them, that's different. It's just easy to think that wouldn't happen to me until it does. True crime, like, lets you really reflect on unrealistic situations that are very real.
It's actually quite insightful.
If you want to know more, make sure to wickedly whack that follow.
Yes, that. There's another question I have for you. Yeah, she really throws herself out there over and over again.
For sure, for sure.
What were you doing?
I was mostly just wandering around, but when I got to the courtyard, I saw the tourist had this dope retro camera. We were just kind of back and forth on old school photography techniques. Stuff like that was huge on Instagram a couple years ago. Then we got interrupted by the argument. He handed me the camera while he tried to break it up from down here, but they weren't interested in listening.
I see. I assume you gave the camera back to him at some point, yes?
Oh yeah, for sure, but not right away, because things really started getting out of control.
Oh, in that case, I've got a couple more questions for you.
Like whatever you need, Detective.
What happened?
Oh my gosh, I remember it so vividly. If only I was recording. My audience really likes authentic audio. Ugh, that gunshot would give me so many upvotes. Blammo! That's when things really popped off, you know? I couldn't really make see much up there though. When the guard ran through, he and the tourists were so frantically scattered, I like pretty much tuned them out. Besides, we all heard glass break in the next room over, and I needed to go get a first-hand account of things. Fame isn't for the fawn-hearted detective. I ran from the courtyard and saw the punk lying there. It seemed like he fell from the balcony. I rushed over to check on him, but he was so dead.
And what of the diamond?
It was already gone. I explained that to the guard when he came in. Then I guess he went off to go search for it someplace else. I figured with the alarm going off, I wouldn't be able to leave anyway, so I just sat tight and waited in here.
Okay, I think I have some follow-up questions.
Like whatever you need, Detective.
About the guard. He said you both entered the exhibit simultaneously. This contradicts your testimony. Why the inconsistency?
I don't know what you want me to say, Detective. I, told you everything I know already. I came in, saw the diamond was gone, took a quick look over the body, and the guard came running in after her. I was gonna lie, wouldn't it make more sense for me to agree with the guard? I'm admitting to having no witnesses.
I suppose you're right. So, the diamond really was missing when you arrived?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. I have some different questions instead.
Like whatever you need. Only if you subscribe. Just kidding.
About the victim. You mentioned he had already fallen from the balcony above. Did you do any closer examination than that?
Why do you ask?
Thing is, he didn't have anything on him, not even a wallet or no ID. Doesn't that seem strange to you?
Oh, Detective, that's because I, gathered them for you ahead of time.
Oh my gosh, he's a thief.
So you wouldn't miss anything.
Is that so? Tampering with a crime scene can be a serious offense, you know.
But, it wasn't tampering, it was, assisting. I know about standard procedures, so I just, went ahead and did it for you.
That's all it was, huh? Lying to an authority of the law is also quite an offense.
Okay. I took his stuff because it would have been amazing promo material. You can't blame me for trying to fabricate a viral sensation, Detective. And besides, what if he had been stabbed and I needed to stop the bleeding?
That logic doesn't even... You know what? I've got other things to discuss with you, and then I'll be on my way. Small collection of items that once belonged to the victim prior to his demise, requisitioned from the podcaster. It's a fairly normal set of possessions, including a receipt for admission to the museum, a business card, and a bottle of medication. If I want to learn more, I should start by closely examining what I have, and then ask around for other insights from the various guests. The business card advertises a true crime podcast, presumably given to the victim by the podcaster. She slipped her own stupid thing in there again? Jesus. Oh, of course. I knew there was something else here. The receipt. Why would he have paid twice? Somebody came with him. As far as I'm aware, he didn't come in with anyone, right? Since I can't question him directly, I'll have to ask around some more. Oh, hello. Yes, hello. I'm the... Yeah, I know who you are. Fantastic. Let's get started. Well, I'm waiting for you. On you. Get started. Then I'll finally get to go home. Standing on these floors is killer for an old timer like me. There's a bench just over there if you... I don't need to sit. You think I need some handout for you? Do you know who I am? I didn't mean to offend you. I just... Look, detective, get to the interrogation or whatever you have to do so I can get out of here. Fine, yes, wonderful idea. Let's do just that. How much longer is this going to take? There's some kind of interview? Humph. Who are you? You really have to ask, huh? Tell me everything I need to know about you, detective. Well, in this case, I am the one who needs to know why. No, so why don't you answer the question anyway? I'm a retiree of the art world, from back when folks respected the craft. I saw success beyond my wildest dreams. I was in galleries, exhibitions, and auctions for higher rates higher than you or your kittens would see in an entire lifetime. Point is, I was at the top, and I wasn't making way for nobody. You had to be cutthroat back then. Don't even get me started on all this crowdfunding. Sir, I don't think... For what reason did you step down from such a high pedestal? Couldn't keep up. Is that what you want to hear? My hands started going first, and then, well, I quit while I was ahead. I see. Well, then let's change the topic. How much longer is this going to take? What do you do? What kind of question is that? Are you one of them half-rate gumshoes, detective? That's an offense to... In my advanced age, I don't do much of anything. With my advanced wealth, I don't have to. That's what it means to be retired, not that you would know. I might do some consulting from time to time, or attend an event, but all that chasing tail, that's for the young pups. After everything I've given to the art world, I keep on giving. What do you think about that, huh? Good for you. You wouldn't get it, so maybe start asking some questions with answers you can actually use. What a fantastic idea. Let's do just that. How much longer is this going to take? About the museum. What about it? Despite a few amateur missteps, it's a respectable institution. And what would you consider a misstep? Don't get me started on how much modern garbage they have on display these days. I understand art can't be entirely without business, but there are lines you just don't cross. Betraying the greats by hanging their most prestigious pieces next to finger painters, that's across the line. Did you ever have any of your pieces on display here in the museum? Ask the leading question, detective. Don't believe for a second I don't see what you're trying to do. If you must know, even at my peak, no, the curator refused to exhibit any of my works. I had plenty of other exhibitions, and we've always been on good terms. I don't hold it against them. So don't leave this conversation thinking I've got some sort of vendetta. That would be a ridiculous notion, wouldn't it? Maybe I should ask a different question instead. Yeah, get on with it. What were you doing? Am I outspoken, detective? Are you answering my question with a question? The answer is no. I am resolute, firm in my options, because I know they're correct. I still have yet to see how this ends. There I was with the critic. We were looking over the various pieces in the sculpture gallery. The critic wanted to discuss with the guide, so I let them be. Made my way upstairs into fine art. That's when I saw them. All these disgraceful misuses of canvas, and the punk that followed soon after looking for a fight. He must have seen a wrinkle at my nose, at some painting, and well, he didn't know what tree he was barking up. And what tree was that? An old wizened willow, detective. One that weeps for the way things used to be. Intriguing, to say the least. I believe I have some more questions then. What happened? Of course I remember it like it was yesterday because it was today. Ha! Gotcha, didn't I, detective? In fact, it was about an hour ago. How could I forget that? I'm old, but I ain't that old. Huh. That punk wanted to yank my tail, but when I barked back, he must have got scared and pulled a gun on me. I always knew I had some bite left, and we got into a real scuffle. It took us out onto the courtyard balcony. He threw me into a wall. I swung back at him. He tried to take me out, but his aim was bad. Missed by a mile. Must have been new to it, too. The kickback gave me a chance to disarm him, and then he ran off. The critic came to check on me soon after. I told him I was fine, unscathed in fact. Then the alarm went off, but I didn't do anything to do that. Didn't have anything to do with that. Well, I'm glad you're alright. Let's discuss something else. Ugh, how much longer is this going to take? Attendance tonight is the old-timer prestigious artist of great eras past, so not one for great first impressions. I say, what matter of drab fashion is approaching me? I'm the detective. Sent to investigate this series of unfortunate events. Heavens, you should speak to your department about acquiring better uniforms. This is not a uniform. It's just one of my suits. Are you to imply that these are your actual clothes that you purchased with money willingly? I would appreciate it if we could get to the questioning now, please. Oh, relax. I'm a bit of a critic, but I'll do my best not to get in your way. I'll likely take a few jabs at you, though. How could I not with those shoulder pads, What? But no, seriously, I'm on your side here. Don't worry about it. You know, let's just get started, shall we? If you must, don't let me stop you. Usually I charge for this sort of service. Who are you? I'm a collector. I'm a connoisseur. Some would call me a cultural innovator. But that title is just far too garish, even if it is entirely true. And this is what brought you to the museum today? There are wonderful pieces here that I would love to call my own, but no, I'm not making any purchases. My accountant wouldn't like that very much. Correct me if I'm wrong, but exhibits at a museum aren't usually for sale. Spoken like a true member of the middle class. Everything is for sale when you have enough money. Am I to assume this applies to you? I've written for the most prestigious organizations. These scales have rubbed against the best of them. You should consider yourself blessed. I'm not more offended that you would even ask who I am. Then why don't I ask a different question instead? Do you have family? A traditional family? No. But I have someone close to me, if that's what you mean. Would you not consider them family? I would. But that partnership was founded in a different time, and unfortunately there are still many similarities between now and then. Besides, when you become larger than yourself, and people believe you're only how they sculpted you, there's lots to lose if you betray their perception. If I'm to interpret your meaning, isn't the artistic industry quite progressive? For an artist at the easel, yes. For a writer at a typewriter, yes. For a musician with their instrument, yes. But for any of them who with the need to live, to eat, to succeed, they must be ruled by money. And the people with money far above even my station, they do not understand the meaning of progress. So no, I suppose I don't have much family. Most of us can't afford to. I'm sorry to hear that. Would you mind if I asked another question? About the museum. Why did you decide to visit today?
Oh, the courtier practically begged me to come and write about it in one of my columns. I visited before, many years ago, and the article I wrote back then was an unbelievable success. Although, considering the terrible fate before us, I don't know I don't know that anything I write will speak highly enough.
You mean the murder turned museum heist? Is that it?
Huh. No, Detective, I'm talking about irrelevancy. And worse yet, the curator has resorted to committing the cardinal sin. The display of counterfeit art is just painful.
What do you mean? That would be quite the accusation.
They're duplicates, simple as that. How else would one acquire such diverse catalog? In fact, I've already noticed two, and well, when there's two, there must be a third. That's just proper writing, Detective.
Right, well then let's carry on, yes?
I'll give you this one free, Detective.
What were you doing?
As you do in a museum, I was taking my jolly good time, looking over the many exhibits alongside the old-timer. When we made our way into the sculpture gallery, I decided to strike up a conversation with the guide. Of course, I can't resist an expert discussion. The old-timer has far less patience for that sort of gallivanting, so he took off upstairs. Perhaps I shouldn't have let him go off on his own. I don't know what it was that they argued about, but it must have struck a nerve. I think that's when our evening started to go south.
Is that so? I got more questions then. What happened?
There isn't much for me to say on the topic, but I suppose it began with the old-timer's argument upstairs. It sounded like he was in the fine art gallery. I started moving that way, but when I was just about there, I heard a blunt slam. I had hoped that the argument didn't turn violent, but I was quickly losing faith in that theory. Before I knew it, there was a wretched bang. A gunshot, with glass shattering not long after. I was concerned for the well-being of the old-timer, so I continued outward towards the balcony after him. By then, the brawl had concluded. The old-timer was clearly worn out. He was breathing heavily, and had a couple scrapes, but he seemed okay. I shuffled him back into the fine art gallery, and tried to ignore the rest of the cacophony below. It calmed down soon after, and now you're here.
Yes, here I am. Why don't we continue the investigation, shall we? About the old-timer. I've taken down both of your testimonies, but there's a specific detail here that doesn't line up. The old-timer claimed he came away from the brawl entirely unscathed. That's not accurate to your remarks. Why?
Huh. This might be the easiest explanation you've received today, Detective. Are you familiar with fragile masculinity? We've known each other for a long time, and when I say he's improved, I mean it. But there are still things that get under his fur. Whether this helps or hinders your perception of his motives, I doubt he even second-guessed a lie like that.
You speak as if you know him quite well.
Intimately, some would say.
Understood. I think I have some other inquiries to make before I move on.
Greetings.
Hello, I'm the detective tending to this case.
I'm aware of this. You're from Feline Forensics?
Yes, I am. Good, you're familiar. Do you mind?
You may. Ask me a few questions, that is.
First of all, how did you know about me? Was it the tie? I tried to go with something more neutral, professional, insightful even. Maybe it's my suits. The shoulders are very padded. Is it the suit? Too private eye?
It was not the tie, Detective.
So it was the suit.
It was also not the suit. I'm just aware of you, generally speaking. Good marketing, perhaps. And besides, I simply prefer to be aware. An artist must observe the world.
I hope that proves useful. Let's begin.
Whatever it takes, Detective. I'll provide answers, Detective.
Who are you?
I regret to inform you, Detective. Who I am is not important. I am unimportant. In the grand scheme of things, as it pertains to the situation around us, these details will not bring you closer to the case closed.
And why don't you humor me? Ask if I were asking as a stranger, not a detective.
I'm a washed-up failure of a creative amphibian. As soon as I had hands, my parents couldn't keep enough paper in the house. I'd heard every marker and paint I could find. Clay was my best friend. My imagination was insatiable, so I didn't have time for anyone or anything else.
That doesn't sound like a failure to me.
Insatiable may beget experience, but it does not equate to talent. Is that a sufficient answer, detective?
Indeed. I hope you don't mind answering some other questions for me.
Whatever it takes, detective.
What do you do?
Since my art career became an artifact of the past, I found myself in several professions. Nowadays, I work under a contract agency. They have me doing temporary work placements. Many placements are undesirable, unfortunately, but it pays the bills, and I can keep a fair bit of time to myself.
Do you still create art in that time?
Yes.
Excuse me.
I don't believe I could ever truly give it up, but inspiration strikes less frequently. That's why I've decided to come to the museum today.
And did you find something inspiring?
I believe I have, but time will tell. The paint may dry, as they say. Must dry, as they say.
They do say that, don't they? On to the next question, then. About all that paint. I'm sure you're aware, but why are you so covered in paint? Or so covered in it. I don't know.
This is my favorite coat. Are you suggesting that just because I have some paint on it, that suddenly means it can no longer be a coat? It was a bit cold today. I needed to wear a coat. I'm not warm-blooded, detective. Do you want me to be cold?
I didn't say that, no.
Besides, it makes the coat more unique. No one in the whole world has this coat but me.
Could see the lure in something like that. Would you say you strive to stand out?
I think most people do, myself included, and yet I frequently feel invisible. It's as if people just don't see me, even if I'm standing right there. It makes one feel quite lonely, to say the least, forgotten. My apologies. I believe I've strayed from your inquiry.
Don't worry about it. Not at all. Shall we discuss another topic?
Whatever it takes, detective. I remember them well.
What were you doing?
I hate to break it to you, but my prior behavior has little impact to the case. I was just wandering around the various exhibits observing. Specifically, I was counting the bones of these hanging skeletons from the natural history exhibit's balcony. Then again, I did spend some time on the courtyard's balcony as well, mesmerized by the pendulum's qualified sway. Considering my proximity to the fine art gallery, I overheard the argument as it began, and I departed the upper floor.
I've got that all written down now, so thank you. Allow me to ask another question.
Whatever it takes, detective.
What happened?
Certainly. I'll begin with the argument. I was nearby and didn't want to get involved. By the time I made it to the lower courtyard, I heard the gunshot. Naturally, I attempted to make my way out of the museum entirely, but the guard came hastily through the room and bumped into me. I eventually got through, made my way to the foyer. Unfortunately, the door was already locked down. I imagined it was the result of the alarm being tripped. The museum was a sophisticated security system, it seems.
And there wasn't anyone else around?
Initially, no. When the tourists arrived from behind me, I told him we were stuck. Even when the courier came back, they refused to open the door. The tourists passionately opposed their decision, but eventually stood down. We waited in our respective exhibits until you arrived.
Thank you for the detailed recount. Let's discuss something else.
Whatever it takes, detective.
About the guard. When I collected his witness testimony, he neglected to mention anything about bumping into you in the courtyard.
That does not surprise me, detective. Don't you remember what I said before? Even with all this paint, people just don't see me.
You did say that, huh? I suppose I didn't quite grasp the severity of it.
That's not uncommon either, I assure you. If you have any doubts about my honesty in this situation, I can present my perspective in greater detail.
I don't think that'll be necessary. Your testimony is entirely plausible, especially considering the frantic nature of tonight's events. think I'll move on to some other inquiries for now.
Whatever it takes, Detective.
However, when a gunshot was heard, he stormed off and through the courtyard towards the shocking sound. Ah, I see. That makes sense. The guard didn't move straight through the courtyard. He bumped into the artist on the way. Well, that might seem minor. Most minor details can turn an entire case upside down. Ah, I see. That makes sense. It's no surprise that the old-timer would want to keep his manly image. But as we could tell from what the critic told us, even the old-timer was a little shaken following his bout with the punk. Ah, I see, that makes sense. As far as I could tell, he did injure alone, but with one extra detail, he paid enough admission for two. Anyone would assume this is just an act of kindness, but can we claim that for certain?
Hello.
Greetings, I'm the detective from Feline Forensics.
Well, don't let me get in your way.
Oh, I'm actually here for you.
What? I'm innocent, I swear. I meant
I'm here to talk to you. Some simple questions, really. There's no need to be so nervous unless you have a reason to be nervous.
I'm innocent. I still swear.
Oh no, I was just making a joke, trying to break the tension. I've been told I am very dry, so please accept my apologies.
It's okay, I accept. Thank you for questioning me, and please go about your duties. I will stay out of your way.
I appreciate that, thank you. If I have Wait, I haven't asked any questions yet.
Aw, rats, I didn't think you'd realize. Fine, go ahead. I hate talking about myself. We really shouldn't.
Who are you?
Oh, you don't care about that, Detective. I'm just a little mouse, nothing special, and like I said, also super innocent.
Super innocent. I'm sure you are. So you wouldn't mind if I searched your backpack, for instance?
Well, why would you need to do that? I haven't stolen anything, and I put it in my backpack if that's what you think.
I was just kidding again. Why did you come to the museum today?
I came here for a date, okay? And they stood me up. Is that what you want me to say? Don't you know how hard it is these days with these apps, and the mixers, and the socializing, and the being attractive? Not to mention the texting, and the flirting, and the leaving the house. Oh, don't get me started on having to go outside. It's dreadful, Detective. It's terrible. The only silver lining is that you can find places like that are free to get stood up. Imagine having to pay for that type of embarrassment.
Wait. Actually, never mind. My apologies. I'm sure there's another topic we can discuss instead. The monkey was supposed to be his date, but the monkey died.
Okay, Detective, if you say so.
What do you do? But how did... I guess he told him to hold the ticket for him, maybe?
As in, what do you do for work? How do you make...
Oh, as in, what do you do for work? How do you make a living?
I don't really make a living. I'm making a living, getting further and further in debt.
Oh, God.
Can you tell from my distinct lack of sleep? I'm a student.
Oh, I see. What are you studying?
Game design. For the creativity of it, you know. And obviously, the money! There is no denying that the tech industry is booming. It's just going to keep growing and growing. Line go up, huh? Can ask for more fantastic working conditions too. It's incredibly accessible, historically inclusive, diversity off the charts.
I don't know.
Stability? Look no further. Problematic behavior and business practice? Not here. Literally nothing to complain about. Not a thing at all.
Actually, why don't we talk about something else?
That important? I don't think it is. Let's not do that.
What were you doing?
How far back should I go? I came in a few hours ago and started going through a few exhibits.
You could skip ahead slightly.
Right, of course, totally. Well, I go to the natural history exhibit after a bit and started admiring all the artwork there. I could overhear that sounded kinda like an argument. I didn't give it much thought, minding my own business, but it started to get more intense. It didn't take long to realize it has escalated further than it should have. Everything spun out of control from there.
I see. We should go over those details as well.
Okay, Detective, if you say so.
God, why won't the down button work, dude? I'm trying to go down and it keeps getting stuck or something. I'm not hitting it hard enough or something. What happened?
I couldn't tell what it was about, but I heard the argument upstairs was beginning to get physical. Bad things just kind of happen randomly nowadays, and better to not take any chances, you know. I got to the foyer, but that's when my suspicions were solidified. The sound of a gunshot. I pounced towards the door, and as I reached for the handle, the place went into total lockdown. I was scared, Detective. I felt cornered, trapped. I did the only thing I could think of. I retreated into the sculpture gallery to hide until things calmed down. I almost knocked over one of the sculptures in my haste. Thankfully, it wasn't too long until everything seemed under control again.
As in control as it could be, I suppose. Let's change the topic, alright?
Okay, Detective.
Okay, nothing else from him.
Greetings, Detective. Boy, am I glad you're here.
Glad to be here, although not necessarily under these circumstances. Happy to help nonetheless.
Unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to be much help. I'm a bit of an anxious rabbit, you see.
Oh, that's okay. We can work through it slowly with whatever information we have.
Oh, that's quite a relief. I know a lot about being a guide, but I'm afraid I just don't hold up well under pressure. It is what it is, right?
Of course. I'll need to ask a lot of questions. I can't leave any stone unturned, but let me know if it becomes too much.
Sounds like a great plan, Detective.
Great, let's get to it, if you're ready.
Sure thing, Detective.
Whatever you need. Who are you?
Gosh, I don't tend to talk about myself too much. After all, a few years, I'm still the museum's newest employee, but I've been into art history for a long time.
Interesting. How do you spend your free time?
Oh, nothing super exciting. I have a sweet tooth, so I bake a bunch, enjoy a good period drama, read when I can. What else?
Considering your line of work, you never pursued the arts?
Gosh, no. I mean, I did try to watercolor once or twice. Yeah, but it was bad. Don't get me started on the charcoals and oils, pastels I have sitting in my closet. A bit of an impulse. Obviously, I still study art a lot, but no, never felt really like making much.
It's definitely not for everyone, including myself. Should we change the topic then?
Sure thing, Detective.
What do you do?
I'm the current leader of education and guest relations here at the museum. If visitors have questions or they want a tour, I'm their bunny. Aside from that, I'm also the youngest member of the team, so I try to manage our marketing and outreach. The curator and the guard don't really understand social media, you know? Nowadays, though, that's my least favorite part of the job.
The internet can be a cruel place. I don't envy you in the least.
Folks make fair points, like about our exhibits, but they don't really understand how any of it works. They don't like that we keep art from cultures that aren't ours, and I don't disagree with them. But lots of people might never be exposed to those other cultures if we didn't. I don't know, it's complicated.
Most of the world is these days. Why don't we discuss another point?
Sure thing, Detective.
What did you do before?
Just the most soul-draining corporate office work. I went to school for business, whatever that means. In retrospect, it felt like a bit of a scam. It's not like I was passionate about any of it, but it was safe, or so they said.
Are you passionate about what you do now?
Absolutely. I wouldn't change a thing. At least no major thing, right? Huh? Sure, there are bigger museums, they better pay, but I used to think about that kind of thing way too much. I like the people here. I trust them, and they appreciate me. I get to inspire people's passions.
Can't ask for more than that, I suppose. I do want to ask more questions, though. What were you doing?
Before everything started to unravel, I was going about a normal day's business. More specifically, I was answering questions and offering tours to the various guests, but with varying success. That's totally not weird or anything, but the critic was the first to really gauge at all. He had some questions about a sculpture, but then he started questioning my qualifications.
Any particular reason for the change in topic?
Maybe it was a distraction. We could overhear the old-timers shouting upstairs, but eventually he went upstairs to go check on him anyways. I figured it would diffuse itself, and they'd come back down, so I went into antiquities, hoping I would escort them out for causing trouble. That didn't go as planned, unfortunately.
I could see that. How about we discuss what happened next? About the critic. You said they were asking you personal questions, but he described it as only a debate between experts.
Well, I did say questions, but they were more challenges.
Did it feel like perhaps he had an ulterior motive? You mentioned the possibility it could have been a distraction.
I don't think he really had a goal. He was just being a curmudgeonly old man. That sounds rude, but true. That isn't anything new, so I guess I didn't think too much of it, not until, well, you know the rest now.
I do, yes. Thanks for clarifying that. Maybe we should clear up a few other things. What happened?
Honestly, it all felt very sudden. I don't even really remember what happened. After everything had sort of resolved or calmed down, the coroner said something about a gunshot in the museum.
It seems like a pretty difficult detail to miss, with how loud it would be against all these marble walls.
Yeah, the noise. I think that's what sent me into shock. The next thing I remember was the Curtis voice breaking through the haze. They were trying to get me to do my breathing exercises, and when I was responsive enough, they left to call the police. But I keep thinking that if the coroner hadn't prioritized me, maybe the diamond wouldn't have been stolen.
You shouldn't feel guilty. Natural the curator would be concerned for you, especially over some priceless rock. A rock that, as far as we know, is still around here somewhere, and I'll find it.
I guess you're right. Yeah, you're right. Thanks, Detective.
Don't worry about it. Let's talk about something else, okay? Testimonies. The rabbit. Oh, I clicked the wrong one. Dang it. I'm telling you, my down button is not being friendly today. I see, that makes sense. This may not have been necessarily a lie, but it certainly speaks to the critic's sensibilities. At least his testimony seems to line up otherwise. No sense in leaving any stone unturned, or shrub in this case. Just gotta reach a paw in and rustle some leaves. Oh, what's this? Something perched between these branches? It's cold and it feels like metal. Could it be what I think it is? Yes! It's the casing that matches the tip from earlier. I'll have to update the evidence records now that I have both pieces of this bullet. However, the question remains, where's the weapon that fired it? As you expect, I've never really been a fan of water. But if my suspicions are correct, I need to do what must be done. Paw into the fountain, Detective. Here goes nothing. Oh dear, it's cold and very wet. Ugh, my fur is getting to be uncomfortable for the rest of the evening. Aha, here it is. A murder weapon. A smoking dripping gun. It was likely fired during the brawl upstairs and dropped soon after. I'll have to look it over to gather more information, and then start questioning the various suspects about it, too. Howdy doody, Detective Rooney. Doody. Please call me Detective. I'm the investigator on this case. How are you holding up with all the commotion? Just tippy-toppy, topper, investigator. A little worried I'm getting behind on my itinerary, but I'll survive. An itinerary? Are you on vacation? You ding-dang bet I am. A nice long trip like I always wanted to. Just wasn't in the dealer's deck until recent. Call me a regular tourist, but I know you gotta plan every stop. You know what they say, what they be saying, Detective. Failing to plan is like planning to have a good time, getting lost. That's deeply. I think we should get back at the topic of hand, don't you? Rightio, don't hold back. Hit me with your best shot. Who are you? I've gone by a lot of names, Detective, but what you see is what you get. Just an old, free spirit flying through the back half of life. That sounds quite nice, actually. Are you flying with any family? Yeah, that light is doing colors, which is weird. Oh, you really are good at this, huh? You always know what to ask. Of course I've got family. A little brother and his sty of piglets. Dear me, does their mother have the hoofs full with them? She's practically a sister to me, too. You said you're traveling. Is it difficult to be away from them? It stings the soul, that's for sure. But I try to send a postcard every couple of days, and I've collected far too many souvenirs for him. When our pop would go out business trips, he'd always bring little baubles back with him. So, you know, I gotta keep the tradition alive. I don't think he stole the gem. Well, we'll see what happens. I don't really know anything yet. I'm sure the kids love that too. Let's move on with something else for now. Righty-o, don't hold back. It seems like he's an obvious lead contender for murderer, though. What do you do? Nowadays, not much. I'll do some odd jobs when I get back from this big old vacation. Past that, no more grind for me. That's a fortunate position to find yourself in. How did you manage that? That's a tough one, Catective. Long story short, my pop was into some particular business, at least until he died. I was a teenager then, and my brother was even younger, so fending for ourselves wasn't much an option. Luckily, Pop's work buddies took us in. When I got a bit older, I took over the operation he left behind. A decade later, we landed a pretty profitable contract, and the rest is history. I see. Did your brother follow along as well? Mighty heavens, no. In fact, that's why we kept my eye on the truffle. I didn't want him to get involved. That's admirable. Why don't we talk about something else now? About this business. Oh, that's the story, and I bet you don't even want me to spare the tiniest detail. Don't be afraid to abridge it slightly if necessary. Oh, I'm just yanking your tail. Thing is, there's not much to say. I was a poor piglet told to pick himself up from his bootstraps, and I don't even wear boots. Oh, all told, I worked hard, but it was a couple of lucky decisions, and a better company, right places and left times, you know. I'm nothing if not a storyteller, and a good one at that. But I wouldn't want to put a catnap with the details, Detective. Yeah, especially for the murder. I don't think he stole the gem, but he's definitely my number one suspect for murderer. No matter of details will be enough to distract from the fact that you refuse to answer the question. Or did you truly think I wouldn't realize? Look, Whisker, simply put, some of those crowds were the most savory, but folks with deep pockets. Pops put us into some circumstances, then went off and oinked. It forced me into decisions I don't like having made. All that's important to know now is, well, I got more curls in my tails these days. Wouldn't make these choices again if I had to. I won't press the issue now, but I hope you understand that if I have a reason to suspect its relevance, I won't have much choice. Oh, I get it. Don't sound so stern, Detective. If you think I'm running from something or into another, rest assured the worst of it already comes with me everywhere. I understand. Let's change topics then. Righty-o, don't hold back. You want it, you got it. What were you doing? Let me tell you, much of the same I'm doing right now, standing on my two hooves gazing at all the colors. At least until the podcast came on through and started asking about my camera. They called it such an old school vibe. What about it was she interested in? Oh, I don't know, but she was mighty excited. I let her look it over, 'cause I didn't see much harm in that. I took my eyes off it when the argument upstairs started becoming an issue, but she didn't seem shady or nothing. That's when things really started to kick off. Is that so? Let's discuss further then. What happened? A whole lot, if you ask me. Well, I guess you are asking me, aren't you? Huh? But much of it wasn't privy to. Those two upstairs were in a bit of a brawl, and one of them shot a gun. Instinctually, I stepped in front of the podcaster, but luckily, I don't think anyone actually got hit. That was when we heard some glass smash in the other room, and the museum alarm started blaring. Didn't think this sort of thing could still rifle me up, but in that case, I must have been sweating something fierce, like something splashed my back with a pail of water. I tried to tell the girl to save her own fur, but I don't know. Maybe she was more invested than she let on, and I wasn't going to carry her out. When I got to the foyer, the artist was already arguing with the curator about letting us out. I guess the alarm put everything on total lockdown. That doesn't line up. And I don't blame a single feather on them. They didn't know what was what. They just told us to stand by and wait for the police. Not my favorite gang to deal with, but I sat tight, and that's about all she wrote. Understood, but I think I have one more question. Understands. About your camera. Oh, this whole thing? It's been my trusted companion for ages. Been through some bumps and bruises, but nothing a good buff can't fix. Have a hearty crash today, didn't we, buddy? Huh. You didn't mention that in your testimony. What happened? Didn't I? I told you I let the podcaster look it over, right? When everything started to go sideways, the gunshot probably spooked her, and she dropped it. A real clatter, too. Second biggest of the day, maybe. It's just a pig man. Everybody's animal in this game. I don't want to ignore the obvious issue here, so why do you have a camera in here anyways? Surely the museum's policies would forbid it. Oh, don't worry, detective. I had it all cleared with the curator. They said it was fine as long as I didn't take any photos. There isn't even any film in here. So why do you have it? I guess that makes sense. I think I have in mind more talking points if you wouldn't mind. We've got the green to go, detective. About the artist. Do you recall having encountered him earlier, perhaps in the courtyard? That's a tough one, huh? The tourist was there in the podcast. Oh, you know what? The artist was in the courtyard. Come to think of it, when I was bearing through to get into the brawl upstairs, I nearly tripped over my own two paws. Or so I thought, but now that you mention it, yeah, it must have been him that I was stumbling over. Such a silly thing for me to forget, ain't it? So sorry, detective. I guess my memory was a bit hazy after the whole debacle got out of control. Apology accepted, and understandable. Excuse me. As you know, that's not terribly uncommon. Why don't we discuss something else for now, then? About the podcaster. You saw her in the natural history exhibit, didn't you? Did you suspect that she could have stolen it, then? Initially I did, yes, but she was quick to explain herself, and it all made sense to me. She told me she had come from the courtyard just a moment prior, in response to the sound of breaking glass and a loud thud. That would have been the gemstone being stolen, and the victim falling from above. Considering the timeline, there wasn't much she could have gotten up to. I hate to break it to you, but she did have a few moments before you arrived. Not enough to steal the jewel, of course, but she did steal the victim's belongings. Oh no, you don't say. Oh man, I knew I should have been more strict with her. I was just so concerned with calling the police and getting things under control. Well, your motives were understandable. This could have been avoided with a bit more diligence. Yeah, sounds familiar, detective. I'm sorry about that. And thankful you're saying things right. I'm working on it, at least. Let's run through a few more questions, shall we? Absolutely. I'm an open book and full of pictures. About the guide. You mentioned in your testimony that you discovered her in the antiquities exhibit, stunned from the sound of the gunshot. As much as you know about her condition, do you think it's possible she could have been unaware of your presence in that moment? Oh, I hadn't really considered that, but I bet you're right. I can't reiterate enough how much I really did try to help, but the curators had a lighter touch, so calling for them was the best call I could make. I agree. I don't think you did anything wrong. I just needed to corroborate the two stories. So thank you for that, but I've got some more questions.
Ah, Detective, I trust the investigation's going well.
Of course, I have several things to discuss if you could. About the suspects. I met them all and started to establish profiles on each. There's someone at the heart of this, and I'll find out who. Complete the meeting our suspects lead.
Yes, congratulations, Detective. I have the utmost faith in your sleuthing skill, so please continue to work diligently. It's getting late, don't you think?
Justice doesn't sleep, I'm afraid. It takes time to shine the light on truth.
Fine. Do what you must. Take as much time as you need, but remember, the very fate of this museum hinges on your ability to resolve this effectively.
Efficiently. I think you mean effectively, Carter. Either way, we should move on to another topic.
I would expect nothing less.
About the camera.
What camera?
I was discussing tonight's events with the tourist, and the topic of his camera arose. Did you not notice he had it on him when he arrived?
Absolutely did not. I'm sure you understand, Detective.
The pig lied.
The recording of any kind within the museum is strictly against policy. Why would guests come to visit if they could observe a rudimentary facsimile someplace else?
I had a hunch that that's what you would say, but it might reveal some important evidence, so I'm going to entertain the prospect for now.
Fine, I suppose that is a minor concern at the moment.
I agree. Let's discuss more important concerns then. Specifically, that paid by the victim earlier. He was charged for 2 entrants. Was he accompanied by anyone?
No, he wasn't. That's when I started to suspect he was up to no good. And I was correct, of course.
Then why would he have paid for 2? I hope this wasn't malicious on your part.
It was no mistake. When I told him there was a charge for admittance, he said he would pay for himself and whoever comes next, that's all.
Just to clarify, he didn't know there was a cost to enter, but he was willing to pay for 2.
I didn't think much of it, Detective. It seemed to surprise him, so perhaps he didn't want that to happen to someone else. Did it betray my initial impressions of his character? Sure, but he confirmed that soon after with all this mess he's caused.
It does seem that way, but we can never be so sure. By chance, do you remember who came in next? The mouse.
The nervous one with the backpack. I tried to explain the situation to him, but with all the stammering, I don't think he heard any of it.
Intriguing. Why don't we move on for now? I gotta spit out some phlegm real quick. I'll be right back. A lot of reading. About the critic. He said you had requested an article be written. Could you tell me more about that?
Detective, I'm afraid I have no idea what you're talking about.
Is that so? He said this wasn't the first time. In fact, he said the first one did quite well.
And what else did he tell you, Detective? Because I remember the article quite differently, and I would never request such theatrics again.
Unfortunately, it's not within procedure to disclose any more information about the other suspects than I already have. My apologies if this struck a nerve. But you can trust that I'll do my best to get to the bottom of this. For now, I have other topics we should get to as well.
I would expect nothing.
About the guide. You described her as stunned until eventually your efforts to rouse her were successful, and she told you to call the authorities. But she described the situation differently, that you failed to calm her, and left her there unmoving in order to call the police.
Ah, she said that, did she? You recall, I also described her as selfless, and to a fault. I'll have you know, she's like a daughter to me. I regret to say that she lied to you, Detective, to save my feathers. For a curator to not prioritize the safety of her guests or even their exhibits. I believe she intended to maintain my proper image.
Thanks. A noble act and certainly loyal, but it was still a lie. I'll have to reconvene on that. But for now, we have other matters to discuss.
I would expect nothing less.
About the alarm.
It's state of the art, awarded on a grant several years ago. It runs through every wall, door, and exhibit. A bit Orwellian, but I do what I must. It took a long time to amass such a wondrous collection, so I'd like to keep it. I don't see any cameras though.
Oh, I don't see any cameras though. How does it work?
That's the beauty of it. It's entirely invisible. Reading paw prints on the surface of display stands, glass cases, and frames. And it recognizes registered users, so if I were to rearrange the exhibits, I wouldn't have to worry about disabling the entire system. Of course, the rest of my staff is also registered. Conservators, appraisers, or technicians get temporarily registered as needed too.
I hate to say it, but I think the bunny's the thief of the jewel, and I think the pig's the shooter. But I could be wrong. I like the bunny too. The guard mentioned a discretionary response system. Do you know anything about that?
Vaguely, for instance, putting the doors on lockdown in an early stage response, whereas that atrocious sound is much later. What? For instance, putting the door on lockdown is an early stage response, whereas the atrocious sound is much later. I know that much.
Yeah, the funny bunny. Funny bunny's probably the thief. I see. If someone stole an exhibit, a noisy alarm would alert everyone, warning the thief that their cover was blown.
Of course, if the thief broke into an exhibit to steal it, well, they've already relinquished the advantage of discretion.
What's up, Nishinush? How are you, bro? In that case, the alarm sirens act more like a warning system to other guests. Starting to see this intelligence you mentioned.
Yes, well, I hope it makes closing this case easier for you. Easier and quicker.
Easier, perhaps. Quicker? I'm not so sure. I think it's time to retrace my steps towards the broken display again. Before I do, though, I have some more questions if you don't mind. I'm doing good. Working my way through the case, solving the crime. Arrived at the museum intending to write and publish testimonies. The curator. Ah, I see, that makes sense. He might have been hoping to write an article about the museum, but it wasn't the curator that hired him to do it. But why lie about that at all? Perhaps I should pay him another visit to ask. The curator discovered the guide in this stunned state and attempted to rouse her. The curator. No? Okay, well, dang it. Ah, I see, that makes sense. While the curator did leave to call the authorities, it wasn't before successfully rousing the guide from her stun. Was she intentionally trying to throw me, or was she just trying to maintain the curator's reputation? Curator discovered the guide. Ah, I see, that makes sense. Good job on the bee. Considering her condition at the time, there's no way she would have known the guard had tried to help her. As far as I could tell, this was just an honest mistake, but worth keeping the record straight nonetheless. This raccoon again.
Hey there, detective.
I have some questions for you, and please, keep all this between us.
Only if you subscribe, huh? Just kidding.
About the camera.
You mean the tourist's camera? Oh, that thing was, like, so nice. Wish I could afford one, but they're so vulgar right now.
Yes, that one. You mentioned looking over it. Did you notice if it had any film?
Oh, it must have. Didn't I tell you what happened when I dropped it before?
No, you didn't tell us you dropped it. Neither of you mentioned dropping the camera, no.
Whoops, silly me. Well, you remember the gunshot, right? Blammo and all that?
Happened at the same time you dropped the camera. Oh, I don't know.
That didn't bother me at all, I guess. But then, with the glass shattering, the alarm went off. That's what got me. The noise made me jump, and boop, that's when the camera just dropped out of my right out of my little hands. When it hit the floor, there was a big flash, so it probably took some sort of photo. Of course, I got it back to him all in one piece. Before he noticed, everything afterwards went pretty much the same as I told you before.
It's certainly an interesting wrinkle. I may have a few other inquiries to make before I continue investigating this.
Like whatever you need, Detective.
Oh no, that's a magazine injector? I don't know. Oh, of course. I knew there was something else here. Thankfully, it's still not loaded. So, I think we're still too early on to know anything for sure yet. It won't be doing any harm anytime soon. Although I can't gather much more from this. I'm not a weapons expert, me neither, apparently. What are the chances someone here would be able to tell me more? Private Eye, he's watching you. Yes, right. Let's get to the topic at hand. About the fight. You mentioned that you had a pretty clear view, as much as you could from the lower level. Could you tell me more about how that went? I guess it would be hard for him to shoot him, though, from the lower level, but who knows. You betcha, but I tell you now, I don't know why they were fighting. Whether it must have been mighty serious, though. Whatever it was must have been mighty serious, though. They came out of the onto the balcony swinging, and I didn't think he would have had it in him, but that old timer wouldn't not let up. I get where he was coming from, of course, because that punk had the gun and all, so he probably was thinking there wasn't any room to let up. He must have got a step ahead, struck him once, and got a good shove and landed the punk with his back flat against the wall. Considering they both got their hands on the gun, and it went off shortly after, it wasn't a sight I would soon forget. An interesting contradiction, it seems. I hope you don't mind, but I have a couple more questions I could address before I leave. Righty-o, don't look back. What's that? About your camera. We've been over that already, haven't we, Detective? There ain't much more to say. Well, there's one particular detail I think we should go over again. You weren't using the camera at all tonight, correct? Of course, the quarter would have had my head if I was. There wasn't even any film in here. Then how come, according to the podcaster, the camera's flash went off when she dropped it? You should take a beginner's photography course. Just because the flash goes off doesn't mean it actually took a photo detective. But if you're so confident in your theory, then how about you check it yourself? You could take my camera as evidence as long as I get it back. It's empty, you'll see, but full of sentimental value. I'll make a note to return it once the case is closed. Unless, of course, I discover something incriminating. And I should tell you just how much I trust you to do the right thing, Detective. Here you go. I appreciate your cooperation. Now, could I get your input on some other topics? Righty-o, don't hold back. Okay. An old school camera with manual controls, lenses, and film. The museum has strict rules against taking photography. Why didn't we ask him why the curator said he didn't even ask to bring the camera of any of the exhibits, but the tourist didn't seem to follow them. This presents advantages for me. However, because it's possible this camera was used to capture critical evidence, I just have to extract it properly. Oh, we're doing something. Oh, of course, I knew there was something else here. Or rather, there isn't something here. Sometimes that can be just as important. If I had to bet, this is probably another case of someone's sticky paws, raccoon. What? Ah, see, that makes sense. Could it be the student just stumbled into a bit of luck? But why would he lie about that? He said he was on a date, bro. Maybe through all the excitement, he misremembered. It could be that easy, right? About the camera. How familiar are you, really, with the process of film photography?
Not too much, but you can learn anything on YouTube nowadays. Oh, you think it'd uber boost my following if I did?
Is that why you were so interested in the tourist camera? Well, I've got it right here, but with some bad news. It's empty after all, no film to be found.
But he told you it was empty, right? You said that, right? So no surprises there.
Yeah, Of course. After all, photography isn't usually allowed in a place like this.
Duh. You're super right. What a shame. Cold trail. Anyways, totally moving on.
No, humor me for a moment. Let's say he did have film in it, and was taking photos he shouldn't have been. Someone taking it off his guilty conscience would be quite fortuitous, wouldn't you say?
Fine, I have it. You can take the film. You're killing me, detective. Just know, I only took it to make some promotional material for my podcast. You gotta always be on the grind, and it would have been perfect.
I would say I understand, but the bottom line is, I have a case that needs solving. So we should move on to some other inquiries, and then I'll go continue that investigation. She is a menace.
Like whatever you need, detective.
They did a pretty good job because, like, we've gotten this much information, I still don't know what the hell is going on. I see, that makes sense. The old timer didn't shove the punk into the wall. He was the one doing the shoving. What? The punk was the one doing the shoving? Because that's what? For having such pride, it's hard to believe he would heal. That doesn't. I don't think that made sense. Maybe I read it wrong. Maybe that. Wait a second. Let me redo that. For having such pride, it's hard to believe he would willingly make himself look weak. I wonder what he has to say about that. I wonder if it said. I don't think I can look at it again. Skip the pleasantries, detective. I don't have all day. I'm sure you don't. Let's get started. Yeah, get on with it. About the fight. There were witnesses that saw it go down a bit differently than you described. Would you like to revise your statement? I don't know what you're talking about. I've got nothing to hide and no reason to lie to the most pathetic authority here. Pathetic, huh? At least I would admit to having taken a hit, especially in a fight where I was the only person to walk away. Oh, if you're trying to say something out with it. He is super rude. He's old man. Old rich man. You falsified your testimony. The punk didn't slam you into a wall. You shoved him in an attempt to disarm and disorient him. And in that moment, the only thing you did was widen the gap, and he was able to get a stronger grip on his gun. Fine, yes, I got too aggressive, but I didn't back down. I kept up the pursuit, because if I didn't, he would have shot me. You know what's the truth, detective, so don't fault a washed-up pup for defending himself, even if he does have a tendency to embellish. Justice has no need for embellishment. I've made a note of this, and there's other details I'd like to go over with you. After it clattered to the ground, she recovered the camera and returned it to the Taurus. Thankfully, it was completely intact. Ah, I see, that makes sense. Yeah, she returned the camera, but not without a case of sticky paws. In an attempt to get more promotional material for her podcast, she swiped the film with the Taurus while the Taurus was distracted. During the chaotic events that unfolded earlier, this film was used to take an accidental photo when its camera was dropped by the podcaster. Seeing an opportunity to acquire big clickbait potential, she swiped the film, but I convinced her that submitting the film to evidence is important. Now to find a way to actually develop it. See what secrets are still to be revealed. You have yet to acquire new attire. I do not approve. Apologies, but that's not what I'm here to discuss. About the guide. Were you aware that the discussion you shared earlier was taken quite differently by her? Whatever could you mean, detective? It was simply a forum for two intellectuals. Perhaps one person's forum is another arena, especially when such a debate is uninvited. Have you considered that? I can assure you that was not my intention to debate her. Surely she's been through more treacherous challenges than I could provide. I'm not in a position to make claims one way or another, but I found the disparity in your testimonies important enough to clarify. And worth noting, if your honest response to criticism is defensive, I suggest you reflect on why that is. Humph! How astute and utterly absurd sentiment. That's my job. Now I have more inquiries to make before I continue my investigation. About the article. Oh yes, did you want to read it? I have an early draft if you like. That's interesting, considering the curator was entirely unaware of that request you mentioned. They must be playing coy with you, or maybe they're just embarrassed that they need my help. Embarrassed, it's the bear. The bear asked him to do it, to keep their museum afloat. But I guess you wouldn't understand, standing on the outside, desperately trying to look in. You're trying to change the subject. Did the curator ask you to write that article or not? No, they didn't. They didn't have to. I received an anonymous tip and I decided to be generous. Fine. My turn to change the topic then. You must. Don't let me stop you.
Have you put it all together, Detective?
I'm working on it and hoping you might be able to answer a few more questions.
Whatever you need.
Oh, wait. Did I click the wrong thing? About today's events. About the guard. I don't believe you were aware in the moment, but I figured I should tell you. He did try to help you while you were in that stunned state. Unfortunately, he didn't know how to help, but he called for the curator to come take care of you. He wished he could have done more, he said.
The guard has always been the nicest. Get a chance, tell him I appreciate it. I'll bring him an extra croissant tomorrow.
I'm sure he'll enjoy that. I've got some more details to go over if you don't mind. About the curator. According to your testimony, they helped you up to a point, and then prioritized calling the police. Fortunately, they didn't corroborate that.
Are you giving me a chance to revise my statement, Detective? Okay, yeah, the curator would never have prioritized the museum over us. At least not as far as I've ever known. They did help me recover more than I let on before. It was my idea to call the authorities.
The coroner theorized that you were attempting to protect their reputation. Is that the case?
I suppose it was. I know they come across as a bit prickly, Detective, but they do mean well. And they do whatever it takes to support us. I just wish there was a way we could do the same for them.
It does seem a bit of a trend, but there are other topics we should also get to.
Sure thing, Detective.
Or, Detective, what could I do for you? Let's start with a few questions. Additional details. Drawing bar for inquiry, Detective. Weapons expert, good. About the weapon. I've recovered it from one of the courtyard fountains, as well as the 2 pieces of a fired bullet. I'm not sure what more to make of them, though. Well, for starters, this bullet most certainly belongs to a gun, in case that was ever a question. And while I didn't have a clear view from the first floor, I'm certainly certain it was the punk that had their hands on the grip. Wait, did you say you found the gun in one of the fountains? I did, yes. It was my current operating theory that the old-timer got some sort of advantage against the punk, forced it from his grasp. Makes sense to me, but isn't it a bit far-fetched? The old-timer would have wherewithal to drop it so precisely? What if they were both disoriented enough that neither of them could really keep a hold of it? That'd explain the precarious stanchion in the courtyard too, huh? Actually, you're right. That does sound more likely. Now I have some other things I'd like to question you about if you don't mind. I guess I could give the police department a call. There's probably someone on their last shift about now. Can't forget to expense this charge, though. Payphones aren't getting any cheaper these days. Detective, hope this case is coming along smoothly. What can I do for you? About the film. I found a reel of camera film that might be important to the case. There's equipment at the station to develop it. Could you send someone to come pick this up for me? Oh, absolutely, Detective. In fact, I'll just come do it myself. Okay. Sorry about the wait, Detective. I came as fast as I could. I think you arrived at record time, so no need to apologize at all. Here's the film. Do you know how long it will take to develop? Oh, I'm not sure. Somebody in the lab will take care of it. And you know how they are. Honk! Don't worry. After a while, we should have a photograph. It won't really have any way to let you know when it's done, but you can always call. Ain't no issue there. Well, I've got no shortage of threads to pull on, so I'll put this to the bottom of the list for now. Thanks again. Oh, thanks necessary. Just part of the job. Good luck. Oh, I won't need luck. Let's get back to it. It's clearly important our case, so what should I investigate? Exhibit placard. The plaque reads Miniature Moai Statue circa 1300. Another victim in this odd culmination of crimes, unfortunately. Crime scene. The blood trail leads here and over the edge of the balcony. It's dashed across the exhibit podium as well. The podium looks like it's been pushed askew as well, and the art piece is missing. Stanchions are unlatched, presumably by force, considering the perilous angle. The victim is visible, lying on the floor below. They were likely disoriented and stumbled backwards to their demise. That's all there is to find here, for now at least. Another shocking aspect to the case unfolding in front of us. This is where the blood trail begins, considering the impact on the wall. If this is where the two guests fought, that impact is a likely result. And with enough force, that would explain the crooked painting. You know, I actually like the chibi art more than I like the fully drawn art that they do in the bottom left. I think they should have kept the detective and put him over there with the way he looks in-game. Whatever happened, it's clear the conflict continued onward, but I'll have to keep investigating to learn more. Amidst the struggle, the punk fired the gun but missed his target. The old-timer then disarmed him with ease. I don't really know. Let's try the guard. Ah, I see. That makes sense. The ossified? I can confirm now that the gun was fired only as an accidental result of the brawl. When it went off, both men were so disoriented that neither kept a hold on the weapon or pursued the fight much further. Up the pleasantries, detective. I don't have all day. I'm sure you don't. Let's get started. About the weapon. You described in your testimony that you disarmed him after he fired it. So why did I find it in one of the courtyard fountains? Perhaps you had a reason to dispose of the evidence. You want me to come clean, detective? I'll come clean. I told you he didn't know what he was doing, and neither did I. We were fighting over it, and it was fired accidentally. The sound, the kickback, the surprise of it all, it disoriented us both. He hobbled off backwards, like I told you, and I was a bit winded as well. That's when the critic found me. I was in a rougher shape than I let on before, detective, but everything else is true. For what it's worth, I'm glad you could walk away, that you're safe. However, if you ever provide a witness testimony again, please consider presenting only the truth. Although I should check there's nothing else to address before I go.
I'm innocent, I swear. Every time you say that,
I'm telling you, the controls don't work as good in this game for some reason. Like, it's super delay input.
What about it? There's no fee or anything, right?
No, in this case, someone had come in before you, and paid in advance, actually.
Call it luck, right? That kind of thing never happens to me.
So you weren't aware of it?
Nope, don't think anything of it. Just went on my way, waiting for that date like I said before.
Well, it turns out the generous patron was caught in this chaotic situation, and unfortunately it cost them their life.
Well, what? Detective? I lied, okay? I lied to you. I didn't come here for a date, and I do know who paid my admission. The punk, he was my best friend.
What a plot twist.
So please, could you tell me what happened?
He and another visitor got into an argument. Ultimately, he fell from the balcony, and the natural history exhibit seemed to have been fatal.
Oh, okay. Detective, you can ask a couple more questions if you really need to, but after that, I'd like a few moments to myself.
Of course. Actually, I think it's about time I called the officer back about some evidence anyways. Goes without saying, but I'm sorry for your loss.
Okay, Detective, if you say so.
Oh, where'd you find that, Detective? Funny coincidence, right? Considering I've got your camera and evidence and all. You know, the one that you assured me didn't have any film in it. And surely the film wouldn't fit in. Oh, wow, would you look at that? It fits just right. Why you said just a silly coincidence. I have to spell it out any further. I might have grounds to charge you for contempt. Is that what you're going for? Alright, you got me. Not only did I have film in my camera, I may have taken a few photos. I didn't think it would have been that important. I was just trying to save my hide if word got back to the courier. You understand that, right? Securing the truth for personal gain. Can't say I do, although it's not the first time I've witnessed it. I mean, all's well that ends well, at least. If it helps solve the case, I'm relieved you found out. It could turn out to be incredibly important, yes. Let's move on to more questioning, shall we? Righty-o, don't hold back. Bot argued, is there argued? Argued. Boom! Shakalaka! Let's go, that's so crazy hard. Aha, I knew I was onto something. I've got the basic details of this case all sorted out and met every suspect. Now it's time to really get to work. We didn't even have to brute force it. It could be alarm trip because the door locks when the alarm's tripped, but I think his door was already locked. Yeah, it should. Either one should have worked there, honestly. But thank God, that was awful. That was awful. Aha, I knew I was onto something. This case is continuing to clear up, but it feels like there's always another thread to pull. There's no use calling it a wrap before I know for certain what's happened. The broken case again? Okay. I have more information about the museum's security system now, so I should probably take a second pass at this. I've been assuming the thief used a statue to open the case because witnesses believe that's what triggered the alarm. I'm glad I looked at that because that could have took me forever. There's no denying they heard glass shatter and the alarm blaring, but that doesn't mean it was intentional. When the statue was shot and fell, it landed into the display below. The gemstone would have been ripe for the taking unless it was already gone. According to the curator's knowledge on the security system, that leaves us with two possibilities. One, the thief opened the case, which locked the museum doors, and the alarm went off later. Or two, the thief was a registered user of the bunny with the system, and the doors wouldn't have been locked until the case was accidentally broken later. Unfortunately, there's no way to know which is true right now. Maybe the guard will have further insight on my theory. God, I'm glad I looked at that. Alright, Detective, what can I do for you? Additional details. Standing by for inquiry, Detective. About the alarm. I looked back over the crime scene with special attention to the pedestal of the stolen gemstone. I have a theory I'd like to run by you. Oh, lay on me. I believe that when the display case was broken, the gemstone was already missing. From everything you know about the security system, would that be possible? I suppose it could be, Detective. That'd be quite the twist. The issue I'm having with my theory is how to actually prove it. Without my more clearly defined timing, it's impossible to know for sure. Well, the security system has an interface you could access in our maintenance room, but I can't provide that kind of clearance. Who can? I need that clearance. That's something you'd have to get the curator's approval for, since it's private business and all. Ugh, I was hoping it wouldn't come to that, but if that's what it takes, I'll give it a shot. Until then, I think I might have a few more things to discuss with you before I go.
Detective, I trust the investigation's going well.
Of course. I have several things to discuss if you could.
Yes, of course.
About the back room. The guard mentioned it while we were discussing the security system. I believe access could help crack the case. If you'd allow it.
Preposterous. Everything that happened tonight took place within the public space. No one had access to the mainstream tonight.
Tonight, sure. But what if all of this was set in motion prior? What would you say then?
As far as I know, you can prove that Punk came in to drum up trouble, and some other opportunists saw fit to seize their chance. So, what would I say to that, you ask? I would still say no.
Yeah, tell her. I hope you understand that if I find another means of access, I will have to defy your wishes. If I find something important there, you could be held liable for obstruction.
And so be it. Now move along.
I will, of course, but right now there are other things to discuss.
Have you put it all together, Detective?
I'm working on it, and hoping you might be able to answer a few more questions.
How you are now?
About the back room. I've discussed it with the guard and believe it could be incredibly important to solving this case. Would you be able to take me there?
It's staff only, though. You already have the curator's permission?
For the purposes of our conversation now, let's assume yes. I do. He's a liar.
Yeah, well, come to think of it, it wouldn't matter in either way.
And why is that?
I embarrassingly misplaced my keys a few weeks ago, so I can't actually get into the maintenance room.
Oh, we must find the keys.
The curator said they were going to have a replacement made for me soon, but in the meantime, the guard lends me his as needed. Sorry, Detective, not much help on this front. Maybe you could borrow the guard's keys too.
That may not be as easy as you think. Why don't we discuss something else instead?
Sure thing, Detective.
The frog! Do you know Frog? Do you have the keys?
Salutations, Detective. Have you solved this case?
Not quite, but I have some questions that may help.
Affirmative.
About the back room. I understand this is a stretch, but you wouldn't have any idea where it is, would you?
You mean the maintenance room for the museum? I can't say I do. However, I may have something that could help you find it.
Really? I was mostly just preparing to vent about... because we're gonna have to go through the vent. About this investigative roadblock. What do you have?
I told you earlier how the guard bumped into me. It appears he dropped his keys in the process. You can have them if you think they would assist you.
Oh, it's a thief frog. Thanks, Frog. Artists are so useful. Oh wow, unfortunately I can't use a key on a door I can't find, but I'm sure these will come in handy when I do.
You're welcome, Detective. Feel free to return them once it's wrapped up. Of course, I have no need for them.
Yes, thank you, will do. Allow me to ask a few more questions before I go.
Whatever it takes, Detective.
An unorganized and chaotic set of keys, each of varying size and shape, in my pursuit to gain access to the museum's maintenance room. I acquired these keys from the artist, but it's impossible to tell which of them is actually going to be necessary. The artist said that the guard had dropped them during the chance of an incident earlier, during the chaos of the incident earlier. But it does make me wonder why he would have needed this many strange keys. The best I can do with these right now is try to get a closer look and see what I can find. Oh, of course, I knew there was something else here. The symbol. It looks like a figure with outstretched arms. Have I seen that somewhere around here before? I think we have. If I can finally find it again, that's probably where this key is meant to be used. You know, this is already an absolute mess, but the lack of labeling makes it even worse. Yeah. Ah, I knew it. This fairy looks a bit familiar, like the symbol on that labeled key I found. I hate to rearrange the curator's exhibits without permission, but I think that's probably at least the least of their concerns right about now. Wow, a keyhole hidden behind the artwork, and it's opened a secret doorway. Now that never gets old. Yes, it led us right into the museum's back room. It's horror movie time. I see a computer there on the desk. That's probably my best bet to get a hold of the security system data. I'm sure there's plenty of other things to investigate as well, so let's get to it. This seems like a pretty sturdy box of tools and fairly well stocked for a museum. They're all in pretty fine shape too, considering the layer of dust on most of them. Oh, this is a good looking screwdriver. Never know when you might need one of these. Now, including the screwdriver I take with me. What? I'm going to return it when the case is closed. Someone hung a few drawings on the wall here. Rainbows, dinosaurs, and rocket ships are all standard fare for a child with crayons. Looks like the museum and an avian family there too. Not much to go on here, but cute nonetheless. There's an old photograph hanging here. It's a bit faded. 6 people standing together, posed for some sort of occasion. There's the curator, the guide, and the guard. But I don't recognize the other 3. It might turn out superfluous to the investigation, but I bet I can learn more. This case has proven complex enough that I can't afford to miss any details. Besides, this bookshelf is organized far better than the one in my office, so it's much easier to find anything intriguing. Like this, a file folder marked classified. I could never overlook that. I suppose it's not unusual for a museum to keep sensitive documents, but these, are redacted so excessively even for a contract. Except one phone number. Weird, I wonder who's on the other end. I should give it a call. This feels a bit familiar, doesn't it? I hope I won't have to deal with 2 password fiascos in one night. Nope, it's unlocked. Quite the stroke of luck. Now, let's see about the security system. Most of the data here is obscured, probably encrypted. I suppose that's how they can justify keeping it unlocked. But it's most certainly a record archive. I can make out entries for exhibit openings, doors locking, and the alarms being triggered. Unfortunately, user information isn't revealed. There's no indication of who or what these signals are from. Looks like there's an export data function, and it doesn't require an administrator's override. I'll have this data to the station and decrypt it in no time. Such a sophisticated system, this seems pretty easy. Oh, download the computer system, okay. Oh, because it's exporting, it's to a floppy disk. Well, beggars can't be choosers. I've got what I needed. I guess we got to.
Detective, I trust the investigation is going well.
Of course, I had several things. About these drawings.
Excuse me? What drawings do you mean?
In the maintenance room, there was a handful hung on the wall, in crayon, I believe.
I strain to understand why you would ever need to know anything about that. Does your snooping understand no discretionary bounds?
The case has proven very complex, Carter. I need to understand any possible angle or motive from everyone. Yeah. Cat things.
Well, my son isn't one of your suspects. He's quite young, and I do not see him enough anymore. Until you can look at me with a straight face and prove pinning his scribbles on the wall is a crime, don't ask me about it again.
As you wish. I'll ask you about something else instead. About this old photo. I found it while investigating. I recognize you and the other museum staff, but could you tell me more about the other 3 pictured here?
Unfortunately, this is another scenario where my wings are tied, Detective. I'm not at liberty to disclose the details of their identities. They were, in one way or another, all associated with the museum in the past, but I can't say anything more than that.
It's a wonder how you get anything done these days with so much red tape around.
Like you wouldn't believe. But do you have something else to discuss, or are you going to get back to work?
There's always another question, I'm afraid. About these logs. I exported them from the museum's security system. Ultimately, there's no need to disclose this, but I thought it was the right thing to do.
I'm offended that you would subvert my authority, Detective, but I'm willing to look the other way on this. I understand you're just operating to the best interest of myself and the museum, so I can't fault you for that.
I'm operating in the best interest of truth, which these shall facilitate.
Oh yes, silly me. In the pursuit of justice and all that, how could I forget? I don't see how you'll make much use of them when they're stored on a floppy disk, but do what you must.
I'll do my best, you can count on that. For now, there's more I'd like to discuss if you don't mind.
Would expect nothing less.
About your keys. These keys? What about them? Wait a minute. Oh, wait a minute. You have your keys on you. Oh, yeah. Can't you see I'm holding... Why do you have her keys as well? I'm holding them right in front of you, Detective. Oh, you are, aren't you? Doesn't look like the developers gave you that animation. We're breaking the fourth wall. But they're right here in stunning detail. Developers? Don't worry about it. That's not even the strangest part. If you have your keys, then whose do I have in evidence right now? Never mind, just forget about it. We should move on anyways. Absolutely. About this old photo. I noticed the museum's current staff, but I'm not sure about the others. What can you tell me about them? Oh, well, I never got my own copy of this photo. We took it at a staff dinner. Must have been a couple years back now. That's the older fella there. That's the mechanic. But he sadly passed away now. I guess seeing him again kinda hit me all at once, you know? Oh, my apologies. I didn't know. It's okay, Detective. I just wish you could have met him. I think you would have gotten along well. He was mighty grumpy, but he had a heart of gold, and I tell you, he loved this museum. As much as he complained about it. Yeah, I know the type. Sorry for your loss. It's alright. Time moves on, and so do we. And hey, if there's a way I could get a copy of that photo when this is all over, I'd appreciate it. I'll see what I can do. Why don't we discuss other matters for now?
Have you put it all together, Detective?
I'm working on it and hoping you might be able to answer a few more questions.
What do you want to know?
About this old photo. I see you pictured here next to the curator and the guard. Could you tell me more about the others?
Oh yeah, for sure. That's a story in there. Although after I was hired, it wasn't too long before she left. Regardless, in that short time, I looked up to her vast expertise. It was like she just knew everything about art history, about culture, even anthropology.
Do you know why they decided to part ways with the museum?
No, I don't. It was pretty unceremonious, in fact. I came in for my shift one day and realized it had been a couple weeks since I saw them last.
Okay. I'll have to keep asking around. Until then, would you mind talking with me about some other things? You have yet to inquire into retire. You wouldn't have happened to recognize any of the people pictured here, would you? Aside from the obvious. Oh dear, now that's a face I didn't expect to see when I woke up this morning. Oh, and who's that? The gentleman there on the right side. He's an investor! One of the unscrupulous morals! We've only crossed paths a couple times, and I consider myself lucky to never do so again. Quite strong opinion. Well, I have other inquiries to make before I go, if you wouldn't mind. I was wondering if you could tell me more about the person pictured here, the historian. Sure can. She was an absolute fount of knowledge. No one could shut down the critics' incessant debating faster. Do you know why they parted with the museum? Aside from being destined for greater heights than this, I don't know the details, but I always heard it was a budget issue. If you want my opinion, it was the best thing that could have happened to him. I wouldn't have been surprised if they volunteered. Interesting. You know what happened to them since? I heard they were heading up a department in Weaselton, D.C., one of the National Museums. I see. Unlikely to be connected to tonight's events, then. Let's see if I have any more questions for you. The thieving is crazy, for real. Let's see if there's anything else they can help with tonight, as long as the officer hasn't gone home already. Detective, hope the case is coming along smoothly. What can I do for you? About the alarm. Officer, I hate to be an inconvenience, but I've got something else to send to the lab. Officer, are you... No sense in making you wait around, so here I am. What you got there, Detective? Is that a real-life save icon? What? No! It's a floppy disk. The museum's security system uses them for some reason, but I have no way to decrypt it. Oh, if you're right. This thing only can fit in my USB slot or CD drive. Honk! Ask one of the older officers about it. They'll know how to hack it. After a while, I'll call for an update.
Sounds like a plan. I'll get these logs back to you as soon as I can.
Unless my luck's run dry, this could lead to another breakthrough. Keeps getting later, so here's hoping. Amongst all the redacted information, anyone could be on the other end.
Thank you for calling Finnick Financial, your trusted partner in financial and creative services. Unfortunately, our office is currently closed. If you are a current client, you may dial your extension now and leave a message. Your account manager will return your call as soon as possible. If you are a prospective client, please leave your name, number, and a brief message. A member of our team will reach out soon. Thank you, and we look forward to bringing your artistic dreams to life. Record your message after the beep. Click. An investment firm, huh? I guess it makes sense for the museum to seek some reliable funding, but why all the secrecy? I doubt the curator will give me anything, and chances are slim that one of the other suspects knows about Finnick Financial, but it's worth trying. Sell off the rail gym to... okay. I'm telling you, bro, I'm like slamming the down key and it takes forever. I don't know. Classified documents, maybe? Ah, I see, that makes sense. Embezzlement was an assumption, and probably a pretty extreme one at that. But for the curator to pay off the museum's debt with the gemstone now, that's certainly plausible. Detective, I trust investigation.
Oh, that. About these files, I have reason to believe tonight's events may have been influenced by outside forces, and these documents have strengthened that suspicion. Unfortunately, there isn't much left here for me to investigate. Could you tell me more about them?
I'm afraid you're wasting your time, and mine for that matter. These are very standard for institutions such as this one.
Why go through the effort of redacting so much of them?
It was the investment firm's policy, so I obliged. They kept the museum afloat, so I didn't argue. Nor did I believe there was reason to.
Seems extreme for what you're describing, but this isn't my specialty, so I'll take your word for it. But I'd like to get your word on something else if you wouldn't mind.
I would expect nothing less.
I don't know. It's probably a me issue. You have yet to acquire new attire. I do not approve. Oh, he's still doing that. My perspective is quite valuable. About the investor. Mug, must we, detective? I simply have nothing positive to say. I have reason to believe he may be intertwined with this, so I'm doing my due diligence on this matter, that's all. Intertwined? It wouldn't surprise me if he had an icy grip on it, detective. That's his business. That cursed Finnick Financial preys on downtrodden artists, failed institutions, and any client they could swindle. Of course, everything starts to look up in the beginning, and you begin to put even more trust in them. The good days won't stop. Then it's a miscalculation. An unfortunate circumstance, and before you know it, you're in more debt than you could imagine, and only one way out. Trust the process. A process that's designed to eat you alive forever. I have nothing positive to say on the matter. I may regret asking, but I must. Is this a personal matter for you? Art is personal, it's human, wonderfully flawed. And those corporate suits only understand cold, destructive, and disturbingly... Suits only understand cold, destructive, and disturbingly calculated. I can't say I understand, but I'd like to think I can empathize. I'm not sure what to say, so why don't we move on to another discussion? Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, good job. Aha! I knew I was onto something. Only the best cases have secret rooms and mysterious figures. God, this is all... Okay. This one even has redacted documents. It doesn't get better than that. Let's keep digging. If we're exceptionally lucky, we'll uncover something paranormal too. Come to think of it, I should check with the officer again about the film. It might be developed by now. Let's see if there's anything they can help with tonight, as long as the officer hasn't gone home already. Detective, hope the case is going along smoothly. What can I do for you? About the film. Just checking back up on the film I had you pick up. How's that going? Oh yeah, good news. I just got word from the lab that it's done. I'll be right over to show you. Can't you just describe... Good evening again, Detective. You know, you could have just told me the important details over the phone. You didn't have to drive out here again. Ah, but a picture's worth 1,000 words. Haven't you heard that, Detective? Honk! As for this one, the angle's a bit skewed, and it looks like it was taken in motion, so it's a bit blurred, but if you look right here, there's a tail. A thin white tail, the student in the sculpture gallery. According to his testimony, he would have been in the foyer with this photo was taken. That was a lie. I couldn't have asked for a better breakthrough, officer. This really was a huge help. I need to get back in there post-haste. Go for it, Detective. If you need anything else, don't hesitate to call again. Yes. Everything's coming together now. Is it?
I'm innocent, I swear.
Every time you say that. Not typically. I get a little less confident you're telling the truth. Let's get to the questioning. About this photo. Do you mind taking a look at it and telling me what you see?
Well, I don't see much, Detective. It's pretty blurry.
What about right here? Does this thin white tail look familiar to you?
Are you trying to say that's my tail? I guess it does look pretty similar, but what of it?
By all my calculations, this would put you in a pretty interesting place at a pretty interesting time.
I don't know what you're talking about. Sure, you can see my tail, but there's no way to tell what's going on out of frame.
As much as you would like to deny it, the implication is too strong. I'm giving you a chance to confess here before it's too late.
I have nothing to confess. I'm innocent. It's until proven guilty, isn't it?
You're right. So I'll just have to prove it. Until then, I have other questions.
Okay, Detective, if you say so.
Mysterious knowledge frog.
Salutations, Detective. Have you solved the case?
Not quite, but I have some questions that may help.
Affirmative.
About this old photo. Hate to be too persistent on the matter, but are you positive you don't know anyone pictured here?
I'd given that some thought, and I feel guilty. Would you allow me to be honest with you? I don't know why I couldn't bring myself to say so, but the technician I pointed out he was my father.
Oh. He was. Oh, I see. I'm sorry for your loss.
I respect your kind words, but they are not required. Some of my very early memories are within this museum. In a time before the curator took over, he loved this place, even with how infrequently he acknowledged it. I knew what he meant when he said that there was no reason to ever retire.
I spoke to the guard about him, and he said as much. It sounds like he was well respected.
Yes, I believe he was, but after many years, retirement was chosen for him. He didn't live long after that. He would always say, if I sit down now, I'm not going to be able to stand back up, but I never took that literally.
My dearest apologies. I didn't mean to open old wounds. I know it can be hard. I hope you wouldn't mind if I move on to another topic before I go. Oh, thank God. That accidental photograph proves I should investigate every potential hiding place. This is one is a prime suspect. With this screwdriver, I should be able to. Aha! Gasp. I've found it. The Optimus diamond and in an air duct. Be careful now. Okay, so the rabbit didn't steal it. I guess the mouse did. I still think it was the rabbit, but... This gemstone is worth more than all 9 of my lives. Immediately into evidence with you. What's this? There's something else in here. A rolled canvas. Wait a second, I recognize this, but isn't it supposed to be hanging in the fine art gallery? Oh no, I've got the sinking feeling this case isn't as closed as I thought. What? I'll should, see there's another one. I'll should show this to an expert I could trust. A famous canvas painting found stashed in an air duct. A painting on the canvas that appears identical to an exhibit, which is currently hung in the fine art exhibit, depicts two canine folk embracing in a friendly embrace. And perhaps laughing together. Oddly, I found it alongside the heisted gemstone in the sculpture's exhibit air duct. I may be a detective, but there's nothing visually off about this. So why are there two? I should ask an expert. Oh, the curator, he'll know. The gargantuan diamond is said to be worth an unspeakable value and of great historical and cultural importance. It's been displayed in many exhibitions and had many owners since it was unearthed. In fact, it has been subject of many attempted heists in that time as well. Some believe it to be a cursed artifact, but detailing that further would be like opening a big can of tuna. As for context, in today's events, someone attempted to steal it again. Their plan went seemingly sideways, forcing them to stash it within an air duct, likely to avoid prosecution in the fallout. The question remains, as always, who did this? About the diamond.
Detective, I saw you open the air duct over there. I know you've already found the diamond, so you don't have to be so dramatic. Once you handed that photo, I knew my time was up, so cuff me or whatever you want to have to do.
Luckily for you, the case isn't closed yet. I have a few threads that still need to be pulled. So, you have a bit longer until I draw conclusions.
Yeah, whatever you say, Detective. But I don't see how else this could go.
Before I go, I have to ask, how did you do it?
It was easier than you think. Well, not too easy, considering we couldn't pull it off. But still, the punk opened the display and I took the diamond. Then he went upstairs to create a distraction for me. After that, I just had to wait for the foyer to be empty and make my way out.
Well, I guess I was wrong. And Hinesley was also wrong.
But I heard the gunshot go off. We agreed it was only a last resort. I know he wouldn't have killed anyone, but it made me hesitate. Then I decided to leave him behind. The doors were already locked. The security system was supposed to recognize him, but I guess that didn't work. So I moved it to the backup plan and tried to wait it out.
I see. I have plenty more questions about this entire situation, so there's no sense in stopping now, shall we? About today's events. Why did you do it?
What kind of question is that, Detective? If I have a really good reason, it's not like it'll suddenly be okay.
No, probably not. But it can help me build a better picture of what's happened. Sometimes that can help, so please, be honest with me.
Well, it's worth a lot of money, you know. Split 2 ways, even 3, 4, 5 ways. That's still a ton. This is going to sound so cliche, but with that kind of money, the punk could have finally paid for surgery.
Surgery? For what sort of condition?
Something with his heart. I don't know much about the really intimate details. They don't bleed right. They have a weak pulse and some muscle deficiency. Look, I'm not a doctor, and frankly, I don't hold up well to anything medical. It's just bad, okay? This was the only way we could have fixed it, I think.
Sounds a lot more redeemable than, say, buying a tropical island somewhere, don't you think?
Yeah, whatever. It doesn't matter now. Perhaps it doesn't.
But, would you mind if I asked a few more questions then? About the punk. You said you were friends. Would you mind telling me a bit more?
I don't know what there is to say, and if you're just fishing for evidence, well, I don't have anything to say either.
No, I was hoping you could just tell me more about him. Would that be okay?
Like what? He was a punk through and through. All of my other friends from university said he was just a bad influence. Maybe they were right. He apparently got me tied up in all this, didn't he? No, that's not fair. Besides, I've known him for far longer than anyone, so what do they really know?
How long did you know each other? How did you meet?
We were just kids, meeting like any two kids do. I don't even remember what it was exactly. Probably trading cards or video game kid stuff. Stuff that boys would make fun of you for, at least until they got a switch right hook to the nose.
He had your back. I understand that.
And I had his, or I was supposed to, at least enough to hold him back. Detective, I know this will sound strange, but I just don't want to hold on to this right now. It's hard to look at. Could you take it?
What is? Actually, that doesn't matter right now. Of course I can hold on to it. You shouldn't blame yourself for what happened. I know it's not that easy, but I hope you can trust me on that. Now there's a few more things we can go over. You're going to jail, Rat. About this painting. Happened to find it alongside the gemstone. Did you have anything to do with it?
You have to trust me, Detective. This time I am telling the truth. When I say I have no idea why that was in there.
Maybe the rabbit did steal too, though, and I would still be somewhat right. So you noticed it was in there earlier this evening.
I did, but there wasn't enough time to think about it. Has it stumped you as much as it stumped me?
Yeah. Enjoy your walk. Unfortunately, yes, for now. After I make more inquiries with you, I'm going to get back to investigating it.
Okay, Detective. If you say so.
About your plan. How did you know to hide the diamond in the sculpture gallery?
We decided on it beforehand. I know it might seem like we were just a pair of amateurs, especially since everything fell apart, but we gave it some thought. Ugh, look at me. What am I even saying? Trying to justify that I'm good at being a criminal? The truth is, we were hired to do it, but only the punk ever communicated with them. And they were prepared to deal with pretty much every contingency. They knew it all, except for the security system, I guess. Well, they told us about it, but the punk figured out how it actually worked, so we could get around it. I hacked his ID into the system remotely. It seemed really easy to accomplish in the moment, but in retrospect, that's why we had a backup plan.
And that was...
If for some reason I couldn't get to the front doors or they were locked, which they were, I was supposed to go into the sculpture gallery and put it into the air duct. Whoever hired us was willing to have someone come through and pick it up later, but that's all we were told.
So, presumably, they would have had other means of entry. Perhaps they just needed someone to get it out of the display. Strange.
I mean, whatever you think, Detective. Like I said, we had pretty explicit instructions. And it seemed like whoever they were, they had a lot of contingencies.
Now some amateur thieves is right. I've got a few more topics. The diamond? Ah, I see, that makes sense. Of course he was trying to hide the diamond he had stolen. He stashed it in the air duct, but he couldn't have come up with a reason for with this backup plan on the fly, right? About this artwork. I discovered it under strange circumstances, so would you mind looking over it for me?
Oh, I hope those strange circumstances were taking it off the wall and out of its frame.
No, it's not as simple as that. The exhibit is still hanging right where you last saw it.
That's because, the original is still hanging there because this one's a counterfeit. The consistencies are subtle, especially in this style. Why would someone like this be here? Something like this be here, Detective? You know, don't you?
I have my suspicions, but nothing definite yet, I'm afraid.
I don't like this one bit. If you find out more, you'll tell me, right?
Only what I'm at liberty to disclose. But I'll continue to rely on your expertise as needed.
Well, if I were you, I'd look over any other artwork you've come across tonight. Who knows what else could have been missed?
A good idea, but until then, I might have a couple more things for us to go over.
Ah, Detective, I trust the investigation is going well.
Darn. About the diamond.
What about it, Detective? You finally figured out what happened?
To an extent, I have. You'll be pleased to know that I've recovered the jewel.
Oh my, wonderful. It can be returned to its proto-museum, and we can call it a night.
Psych chicken. Unfortunately, more questions have been raised in the process. I'm going to need to keep it for a bit and continue my investigation.
This better not be some bureaucratic tomfoolery you're pulling. Although, I suppose the display case was broken, so the diamond might be more safe in your care for now.
I appreciate your understanding. I don't want to act too hastily and allow something like this to occur again.
That is a concern I hadn't considered. Fine, but don't push your luck. You've already been sniffing outside my authority, and I've excused it thus far.
As I said before, I do what must be done in the name of true justice, however long it takes. Although the officer probably has some crucial evidence ready that could speed the investigation up for you, curator. Before I go check on that, but I'd like to discuss other matters. But, oh, thank God. Has anyone at the station been able to crack into those logs yet?
You're in luck. They just cracked it, and let me tell you, there's a lot in there. Bad news is, there's far too much for me to relay over the phone.
Oh, officer, you really don't have to come over here to the museum again. It's fine.
I wasn't planning on it. Hawk! The lab told me I could, under no circumstances, print out all these logs and take them to you. Something about being 8 months over the station paper budget, but it's searchable at least. Do you have anything you think I could cross-reference with the logs that will give us a good place to start?
Give me 1 second, I gotta get my phone. Do you have anything you think I could cross-reference with the logs that would give us a good place to start? Oh, that was the hunk, dude. I don't think so. What should I be looking for?
From the looks of it, there's timestamps, exhibits, and registered aliases, among other things. It's pretty difficult to parse.
Searching for a registered username would be the easiest, so I guess I'll call back when I have something like that.
I'll be here, Detective. I decided to pick up an overnight shift so I could keep helping out. Click.
Where am I going to find a username in all this museum mess now? Jesus. I figured there might be a clue in here, but he won't open the case. Wait, what the hell is this? Ah, new investigation. Let's go. Why would this... Okay, I don't understand, but cool. How am I supposed to know this, bro? Whatever. Let's see what it's got for me. Oh, of course. I knew there was something else here. From the looks of it, this isn't your typical license. In fact, it doesn't even have the legal name printed anywhere on it. Looks more like an internet alias or something. Oh, could an alias like this be searchable in those security logs? I should have the officer check for it. Oh, about the alarm. Where do we stand on those security logs again?
At the moment, I'm just waiting on some search terms to try. Have you found any?
Yeah, that's what I thought. I think so, but I have a feeling I know what's going to come back. Did you try XX Monkey Rich XX? Oh.
That's definitely a unique one. Oh, wow. I see it right here. This thing even keeps fingerprint records. Makes sense.
No, you were hella wrong, I think. We're not all the way to the end yet, but so far it's looking like you're like the most wrong. God dang. And look at that. I have an entry. Oh wait, who's talking? And look at that. I have an entry here that says the user matching that ID opened the gemstone display case earlier tonight. Good work as always, Detective. Well, assuming that's the outcome you were hoping for. Huh. It was, yes. But more of a confirmation at this standpoint. The students already confessed to hacking the punk's credentials into the system.
Oh, I may have spoken too soon. That username was registered, but then it was removed. And whoever did the removing was only registered a few minutes prior. And get this, Detective. The new mystery user? They opened 3 exhibits tonight, none of which were for the diamond. Oh my, can you drive any identifying information from their credentials? The username is just a jumbled mess of characters. Maybe we could decode it, but I have a feeling that won't get us far. I'd say we're working against someone who has this whole plot perfectly planned. You're right. It won't be that simple. If you say so, as always, I'll be here if you need me, Detective. Like a felt fish on a string. Every time I get close, it gets yanked away, huh? Private Eye is watching you. Yes, right. Let's get to... about this ID card. You wouldn't happen to recognize anything about it, would you? I do, not that I could tell you much. I've seen this logo before at least. Overly designed, if you ask me, especially for a low-tier biker club. A biker club? What do you mean? Thanks, bro. I'm sure you're familiar with the concept, Detective. There's just a bunch of names for him, although I don't know what these folks get into specifically. It could be anything from just tuning their bikes and going on rides to slinging a high-grade oil, if you can catch my meaning, or anything in between. I'd have to assume that's a bite bigger than you could chew in one night, Detective, especially since you've already got your paws full here. Oh, I do, don't I? Well, in pursuit of resolving this mess, I've got some inquiries to make. Do you know anything about it? About this medication? Not for any particular reason, such as your advanced age. You were supposed to say that last part out loud, Detective, huh? Let me take a look at it. Look. Yeah, I think so. Might have been one of these drugs my doctor recommended. What did they prescribe it for? Do you remember? They didn't prescribe it. First of all, I don't need to depend on a bunch of pills. Certainly don't want to keep track of them all. Sure, but what did they attempt to prescribe it for? Blood pressure, I think. Doctor mentioned something about anxiety, but I was already turned out. Ah, the bunny! Here we go. You don't say. Well, thanks. There's more I'd like to get from you before I go. Oh, okay. Well. Ah, I see. That makes sense. Of course I knew the student intended to meet with the punk. But it wasn't just for a nice stroll through the exhibits. He meant to make sure the hack security system would let Punk open the glass case and allow the student to take the diamond. Ah, nice. The plaque reads Optimus Diamond, circa 1700. You really gave me the runaround, didn't you? Look, precious little stone. Regardless, I'm glad you're safe. That was useless. You know, there are plenty more pieces of the statue laying about. Perhaps I should take the time to look over it at least once more. This is likely just wishful thinking on my part, but it couldn't hurt. Oh, of course, I knew there was something else here. A second second examination was necessary. I knew it, although a bit later than maybe I should have. But there's no use dwelling. Examine every piece of evidence. Dwelling on that now. This is an indication of forgery. A strange one, but I bet the guide will know more. About this artwork. Now, I have my suspicions with this one, but I'd like you just to confirm, just in case. Are these pieces of the miniature Moai statue? Wait, you had a right to be suspicious, Detective. Just look at the sculpture's stance. It must also... What? Must also be a fake. Must also be a... They just shuffled it. Be a fake. Well, what's left of it anyway? That makes 2 counterfeit art pieces here in the museum. And this one was on display. Yeah, nice. Do you really think it could have been replaced by someone? You must have some idea.
At this point, I think it's clear. There was something else going on behind the scenes, but I'm not sure what. For now, I have a couple of other things we could go over instead. No, that's not useful. Oh god. Oh my god. The air ducts has been witness to some pivotal moments of the evening, huh? Well, let's just... I freaking hate this game. Well, let's get it open and see... That shouldn't be circled. Let's see what... Let's get it open and see what it could tell us. Just one more screw and got it. Look at that, a stone-faced statue. I never saw the exhibit in one piece, but this seems identical. There's no strange stamp on the other side, so it's safe to assume this is original, and the one down there was a replica. There's something else in here too. Not canvas though, it looks like a piece of paper. It lied! It's a note, neatly written, but I'm not sure what it means. Back on a classic trail of clues, detective, just like the old days. Didn't I get an achievement for getting all the evidence? I am pretty sure I did. I'm like, examine every piece of evidence. Why do we have a new piece of evidence then? Why do we have a new piece of evidence, game? A strange note with a series of handwritten numbers. While investigating the air duct on the balcony of the natural exhibit, found this odd note alongside an old statue. While the statue appears to be identical to the nearby exhibit, the note has a unique string of 10 numbers. Doesn't look like a phone number. It's a bit too obscure to run through any police database. Could there be someone that recognizes it? Also, I have a screwdriver used to open that air duct. He's all about that screwdriver.
Have you put it all together yet, Detective?
Not yet. But soon I'm gonna put you in chains. About this note. It doesn't look like much to me. A string of 10 numbers. Do you recognize them?
No, I don't think so. We have internal identifications for the exhibits here, but I'm not familiar with anything in this format.
Oh, wishful thinking, I suppose. Never that easy these days, huh?
If you say so, Detective, I'm sure there's someone who knows.
You're probably right, but I need to finish up the section of my notes before I go off the deep end into more questioning. Oh, we're doing it. Thank God, Jesus, that all ruined it. Ugh. Aha, I knew I was onto something. I thought we were nearing... Oh, Jesus. We were nearing a closed case, but this is a real mess. It's like I'm being led on some obscure scavenger hunt. Thanks, man. You too. Could it all be a massive conspiracy? No catnaps until we can say for sure. Oh, he's alive? Oh, that's good. Oh, hey, you're the detective, right? I am. Aren't you, dead? I'm not just seeing things, am I? Nah, I'm real. And still kicking this raccoon over there. Just took a little nap on the floor there for a bit, I guess. Yeah, for real. I took your pulse and everything. Well, I've been told I have pretty subtle pulse. Something with my heart, but I never listened to the medical jargon. Anyways, the podcaster over there, she filled me in on what's been happening since I was out. I think I'm supposed to do an interview about it. Didn't listen too well to that either. So, but I think I've got a solid excuse. Oh, of course. How are you feeling? Been better, been worse. I should probably get checked out, but I'm sure it's fine. It's like I faked my own death. There's some real underground black market stuff right there. It does certainly add an interesting wrinkle. What would you be open to answering some questions about what you remember? Whatever, man. I'll do my best. Great. There's no time to lose, so let's get started. No use holding back, Detective. Personal questions. Go ahead. Who are you? Oh, you want to run through all the questions? Alright, I just figured since you've been at this for a while, you know enough by now. At this point, not only are you a suspect, but you're a perpetrator and also a valuable witness, so yes, I will likely need to run through all the questions. So you got to the bottom of all this, huh? Guess I shouldn't be too surprised. I know you and the student were hired by a client to steal the Optimus Diamond. if that's what you mean. Darn, here I was hoping that maybe I could still take the fall for him. At least not literally this time. From the sound of it, you two are quite close. Quite close. Is this familiar territory? Not for him. For me, sure. But this job was best suited for two, and he had the skills necessary. Not to mention, it was obviously a huge score, so splitting it with him was easier to swallow, and he wouldn't stab me in the back. You have other associates then. Does this include your client? It's a network. I'm sure you're at least somewhat familiar, detective, but nah, the client, I never heard of him before. It's a bunny. Interesting. That raises a few more questions. No use holding back, detective. What do you do? You mean besides getting mixed up in this sort of situation? I do work for a body shop, you know, for bikes and cars. Is that how you got involved with the biker club? In a roundabout way, yeah. Everybody knows everybody in those circles, at least in this city. And that network you mentioned, is this connected to that? There's overlap, but if you're after the client, they're not regular fare. I don't know much about them. They had all the walls up. Students said they provided some crucial information about the museum. You didn't think anything of that? Unless they pay us for it, the client bring their own intel, so no, seemed pretty standard. But they didn't know about the security system, is that correct? Yeah, I thought that was weird. But we figured it out. The alarm wasn't our issue. We were just unlucky. Things went south. Seems that way. But there might be more details we can work out about why. No use holding back, detective. About today's events. Sure thing. Oh, hey, sure thing. What were you doing? Leading up to everything, well, I came to the museum alone, paid admission for myself and the student. I knew he wouldn't have money on him. Wandered about a bit, checked everybody out, eventually met him where the diamond was, and went out over the whole plan again just to be safe. Is that when you decided to instigate an argument with the old-timer? As a distraction, yeah, but I don't know, he was a bit too eager to start something. Says the one who brought a gun. Look, I never meant to use it. I was like a backup of a backup plan, a last resort. This is the most honest guy in the game. That old timer surprised me, so I just wanted to get him to back down is all. I need you to know I never intended to use it against anyone, just a little bit of intimidation. And how did that go for you? Not great, that's on me. At least you recognize that now. Let's continue on the rest of the evening, shall we? What happened? Well, after I pulled out my gun, like I said, that old-timer shook off a decade or two, really started to fight. I kept my distance, but he was adamant about getting physical, so the brawl spilled out onto the courtyard balcony. He got the advantage, shoved me against the wall, and before I knew it, we were struggling over the grip of the gun. I wasn't planning on using it, but I couldn't tell you who really pulled the trigger. Luckily, it didn't hit anyone. One way or another, the recoil put me off balance, and then he broke my grip against the stanchion. It was empty, so I let it drop into the courtyard. The rest is a bit of a blur, detective. I must have taken a good hit or something. Next thing I know, I'm waking up on the floor, the ground floor. Broadly speaking. Yeah, that lines up. I have some other inquiries to make. I think if you're still up for it. No use holding back, detective. Additional details. About your ID card. Unfortunately, I can't return it just yet, but I was curious. It's for a biker club, correct? Yeah, you could call it that. A couple of guys at the garage got me into it, cause a bunch of the old bars have gone under by now. Nobody likes it, and they put stupid fake names on our ID, but they serve drinks and got darts, so I don't complain too much. I was wondering about that monkey wrench. Seemed fairly on the nose to me. Yeah, nothing other than a formality. All of us treat it like a joke. The folks that run the place want to have the speakeasy vibe, but it doesn't really work. Okay. I wonder. I might have more questions, but there's something I need to double check afterward. No use holding back, Detective. Additional details. About these logs. They confirm you were registered with the museum security system, so how did you do it? The student did. I told you he had extra skills necessary, didn't I? He's a wizard with the computer. I don't understand what he did. Something with the back door and bad encryption. He found a way to remote in, made easy work of it. Two of you have quite the rap sheet tonight. You know that, don't you? It was always a risk, Detective. Just didn't pan out this time. Besides, was always said we'd either get rich together or go down together. Just had hopes it'd be the former. I've heard that one before, sadly. There are some other inquiries I'd like to make before I get back to it. More personal questions. About the student. What about him? We're close, so what? You mentioned he could handle the security system. What did you mean by that? Apparently it's infamous for having some fatal flaws. Something about network and encryptions. It's sold as state-of-the-art, but it's all talk. Still, there's no way I could have dealt with it myself, and he's trying to make a decent living with all the computer stuff. Figured it was worth a shot. So you asked him to tamper with the alarm of a prestigious institution, and he's immediately on board? We've been inseparable since we were kids. A few years ago, he found out what I was up to on the side, and didn't immediately disown me. Honestly, I was against it at first, because I didn't want him getting involved in this type of work, but he was adamant he could get it done. Besides, he wouldn't have let me pay off all those loans he got unless he earned his cut. I knew that's for sure. And did your client know anything about the student hacking the security system? Never said they did, but as long as we got the job done, who cares? From what I could tell, I think they did. But I have some more inquiries to make before I can be sure. About this painting. Found it alongside the diamond, but the student didn't know why. Was it part of a plan you were aware of? Whoa, no way. We were told to come in here and get the jewel detective. Didn't hear anything about a painting. What's up, True Light? How you been, bro? And this client of yours, did they inform you of their intentions with the gemstone? Not really, and I didn't ask, but do you really have to? It's pretty obvious. Setting up for a big payday, don't you think? That's what I assumed, but you can't ever be too sure. I may have another topic to discuss, then I'll continue my investigation elsewhere. No use holding back, Detective. Okay. Oh, the raccoon wants to talk again, finally.
Hey there, Detective.
I have some questions for you, and please keep all of this between us.
Only if you subscribe. Just kidding.
About this note. By any chance, do you recognize the pattern of numbers? That's good to hear, dude. Oh, what have you been gaming?
Oh, you bet I do. That's the identification number for a book, Detective. I would know because I'm like super obsessed with all those Trinity novellas, and sometimes you gotta double check the version you're buying isn't a scam.
Do you happen to know which book this belongs to then?
No, wait, Detective. There's like infinite books, so you're out of luck with me. Surely you know somebody that could check it out for you. Oh, library pun, so cute. I should post that.
A library? No. But perhaps a bookstore could help. I might have some more topics to go over. Fell toward the balcony. The fall was fatal. The fall was not fatal. I clicked the wrong thing because the stupid down key didn't work. Ugh. I see, that makes sense. In all my years as a detective, I don't know that I've ever corrected a testimony this obviously wrong. When the punk fell, he didn't die. He was just knocked out. I would know. I've spoken to him. It is. Considering my milky stupor from yesterday, I know they keep late hours, but let's hope it isn't too late. Good evening. Book gate on second. What can I do for you? Hello. Sorry to bother you again. Detective, I didn't expect you this time. Have you gotten yourself into another mess? Luckily, no. But that's not Monkey's brother. But I am unraveling a pretty complex case, an actual crime, and if I got this clue, I'm not sure what to make of. I can't disclose too much, but I've got this series of numbers here, and reason to believe it's for identifying a book. Does 0385504209 bring up anything? Yeah. It seems to be for the... Oh, there's a Viper code in there. For the first edition of the Viper code. I hope that's helpful, Detective. You know, my father was a huge fan of that book, actually. Of course I know all about it. But let's say, hypothetically, I didn't. I do know all about it. I saw it in there. Hypothetically, I would tell you it's a mystery novel about religious history, famous work like the Mary Lisa, and so on. You don't say. I think that might be exactly what I needed to hear. I can't thank you enough. Don't worry about it. Just happy to help. Hope you sort everything out. Click. The painting is... Yeah, I know. I should go check it out in the nearest air duct, too. Plaque reads Mary Lisa by Leonardo da Viper. I don't want to promise. I want Arson Lupus here as a prisoner with handcuffs on him in a week. Oh, that's all he's got to say. Just like I would do with a good book on a warm summer night. Let's crack open this air duct. Familiar sight. Rolled up canvas, and it looks just like the Mary Lisa up there. I can confirm this with the guide, but I bet the one in my paws is authentic. How could I forget? There's another note, definitely a pattern, but who left this obvious trail for us to follow? I hope there's an answer, but I suppose the possibility of a dead end always exists. No reason to give up until then, though.
You put it all together yet, Detective?
About this note. I have another set of numbers here, about 16 total, separated very deliberately. Do you know what they could mean?
Oh gosh, no, this looks more like a riddle than anything I've ever worked with. Nothing comes to mind.
That's alright. I found someone who could decode the last note. I guess I'll have to do that again.
Good luck. If you find another note, I'll do me best to know about that one.
I'll do me best. I appreciate that, but hopefully the scavenger hunt doesn't continue much longer. In the meantime, do you mind answering some questions? About this note, I've been following a trail of clues, but I've hit a bit of a dead end. Can you make any sense out of the string of numbers? Detective, you come to the right place for this one. This here's what experts in the tourism business call longitude and latitude. I knew it. And no tourism professional would be caught in the cold without their global positioning device. Just gotta punch in 29, 58, 31, 08. Don't forget the 2, of course. Aha! There it is. Only about a 13-hour flight. When do you want to book the tickets, Detective? Sooner than later, I bet. Wait, no, I don't. Oh, Detective, you're still such an easy mark. Besides, I've already been to the pyramids on this trip. The pyramids? That must mean the Antiquities exhibit. Oh? Oh, man. I don't think I'll join you on that trip. A little too much of a trek for me, I think. It's the next room. Oh, yes, of course. A wonderful joke. I might have a few more things to discuss. Then I have to go investigate this. 4 times the charm. That's what they say, right? Doesn't matter. Let's get into it. Unscrew this one and then that one. Okay, air duct. I got your friends to talk. How about you? Let's reach in and yes! As I suspected, it's a small horror statue and probably a counterfeit. But there's nothing else? I guess that means we've hit a dead end. Such a shame, we were on a roll. Considering everything, we should do more questioning, double check all my notes, and then attempt to draw conclusions. The guide will want an update too, so she's been following along. Keep it up, Detective. This is the final stretch. Got it. Nessie got one. About the forgeries. Without any more notes, it seems like the trail has gone cold.
That's a shame, but you've recovered 2 almost stolen pieces of art, Detective. Nothing to shake a snout at, if you ask me.
Of course, still a victory, but unless you can get them to talk, we might be at a dead end.
I sure can't, but you know, I've been thinking, clearly someone was trying to steal the art, right? They'd swapped the fakes from the air duct, and no one's the wiser. And from what you've told me, no air duct had more than one piece except in here. Not to mention, we haven't found a counterfeit diamond. Maybe they really aren't related. 2 heists in one day would be peculiar, but not impossible.
Complete the forgery in the frame lead. C is for counterfeit.
Besides, don't you have some fancy forensics equipment you could use? With all this evidence now, surely there's something to be done.
Kill the mods. We do have an army of mods. You're right. A great detective never lets the trail freeze over. I wonder if Heinzley will ever ban a bot. I don't think he's banned a single bot for... I don't think he's banned a single one yet. I'll have to ask the officer what could be done. But in the meantime, would you mind answering some questions? Let's see if there's anything else that they can help with tonight, as long as the officer hasn't gone home. Detective, hope the case is going along smoothly. What can I do for you? About the forgeries. I found a few, alongside some authentic pieces as well. I was wondering if the department has any equipment for analysis. I'm sure the process is lengthy and complicated, but if it's possible to lift some paw prints, we might be able to deduce some important information. We could even compare them to those registered in the alarm system logs. That could really triangulate the puppet master. Officer, are you there? Hello? Got stuck in traffic on the trip, Detective. Thanks for being patient. Well, as I was saying, you weren't hearing, apparently. I imagine the process is going to be arduous. Arduous? No way! I've got the mobile analyzer with me right here in the cruiser. Wow. Technology's come a long way since you were in school, Detective. Don't you know that? Let's get a baseline first. Something we can use as a criminating reference. Luckily, with all the art pieces I've collected, we've got several to compare. Let's see what that brings back. Alright, button slider switch. Now scan this here. Wait a couple seconds, and... done. We're in business, Detective. I've got a couple prints identified across these items, and a few sets of them appear on each. Question is, what other evidence should I use for comparison? Ideally, something touched by the same suspect as this artwork. Well, we know who's gonna be on Punk's belongings. That stupid raccoon. The backroom keys, I'm interested. The artist gave these to me when I needed a way into the maintenance room. He claimed they were the guards. I'll kick up the machine again and see if it finds a match. Falls across, Detective. Oh, the analyzers found a match. 2 matches, actually. The authentic pieces have a set of prints that match the keys, but they aren't on the forgeries. The second set of prints is on everything. That's your culprit. Fortunately, there's no way to know which prints belong to who. What if it actually is the bear and friggin' Heinzley's an Omega Mind? Let's think. Guard isn't involved in the museum's artistic business. The curator's alibi is fully corroborated. That would mean the frog. It's gotta be the frog. I mean, these keys really don't belong to him. They belong to the guide who misplaced her set a week ago. Wait a minute, Detective. Didn't you say the artist had them? Oh, wait a minute, Detective. Didn't you say the artist had them? How's that possible? That's what I want to know. That's my question. Hate to analyze and run, but I have a case to close, for real this time. Well, I may stop you, as if I could. Hawk! Let's do this, one last time.
Salutations, Detective. Have you solved the case?
About this case. You see, there's just a couple threads left, and it's proving quite difficult to tie them together.
Is that so? Well, perhaps you shouldn't bother with talking to me. What? Shouldn't bother with talking to me about it. Don't you have some way to correct your records? Certainly, you'll find the solutions you need in there, Detective.
I suppose you're right. Before I do that, though.
Whatever it takes, Detective.
Maybe I had to do this first. Prior to the incident, he was counting the bones of various skeletons from the balcony, the natural history exhibit. No? Okay, well. Something else happened on the balcony. What have I found that could point me to the truth? I don't know, dude. I don't know what the hell you're talking about. When arguments started in the fine art gallery, he decided to head downstairs, away from the noise. One second. You don't only want to... Oh, geez, I don't know what they want from me here. I see, that makes sense. While the argument may have already begun in the fine art gallery, he still had to finish what he started. It was only after he had got the counterfeit painting framed and hung that he could make his way downstairs. Okay. Okay. So yeah, it's probably the frog. I don't know what the hint for this is supposed to be. Try punk, I guess. I don't know. Something happened on the balcony. Okay, yeah, sure. Statue pieces make sense. Ah, I see, that makes sense. He did come across as a bit odd, but counting dinosaur bones was a bit of a leap. Now that I know he swapped the statue on the balcony, the rest of his story is likely to fall apart. Okay, sure, yeah. About this case, you see there's just a couple threads left and it's proving difficult to tie them together. That was, until I started to notice a subtle connecting string.
Oh, please enlighten me, Detective. I'm very interested to hear your theories.
I'll begin with the obvious. Someone here tonight attempted to steal the Optimus Diamond. A task that would require a sufficient distraction, but little did they know the museum was equipped with a state-of-the-art security system. This would have thwarted their plan, unless they were warned ahead of time, perhaps even prepared.
Obvious indeed, but your interpretation is very astute, Detective.
That's just the beginning. In actuality, the gemstone wasn't the only target, but considering its value, why would they need anything else? Unless the diamond heist was a misdirection, so that someone could swap the various art pieces with forged copies. But that begs the question, why wasn't the diamond replaced with the counterfeit? Aside from the fact it's highly unlikely it could be reproduced, it's more likely to assume the diamond wasn't a misdirection but a distraction. I believe the jewel thief wasn't even aware of the other's presence. A textbook example of a framed criminal.
I would be lying if I said I wasn't enamored with your line of thinking, but I sense you've hit a roadblock.
Oh, I did. That connective string I mentioned, the second thief, then suddenly everything clicked into place. Everything! Even more threads than I originally realized. The former staff, the contract, the keys, the notes. Any half-rate detective would have seen the puzzle through the pieces. So please, since you've carefully laid them out for me, consider this your opportunity to confess.
Yes, it was me. I'm the so-called second thief, Detective. I knew I could count on you to figure it out. I'll give you a moment to reflect on that, and then I'll freely answer any questions you have.
Good. Now let's get into the details.
Whatever it takes, Detective.
Well, he's pretty nonchalant. Before,
as you wish.
About the corridor. Did this scheme of yours have anything to do with them?
It had everything to do with them, Detective. The fact only half of it was mine, the other half was theirs. They hired me to carry it out, and they never realized who I was.
What do you mean? Why would they hire someone to steal their own exhibit?
You've heard about the investor, haven't you? The Curator...
Oh, so the Curator's evil too.
The Curator signed them up with them a few years ago, and it's dug them into quite the hole. Of course, I never heard their true motivation on the matter. But how else were they going to pay off those enormous debts? And if all their precious exhibits were relinquished as collateral, what's the point in saving any empty museum?
So they'd replace only a few with counterfeits and hope they sell enough to cover the sunken investments.
Now you understand, Detective. It's vile, twisted, and an absolute betrayal of everyone who ever cared about this place.
I can see your point. But I have a feeling there's more to discuss on this.
Whatever it takes, Detective.
About today's events. During. What really happened? Yep, Chicken Evil too, apparently. I found all the art pieces you swapped, but I assume you were up to more than that.
Besides a few small ways I could tip the scales, the plan was largely operating of its own accord.
There's no sense in being secretive now, so what did you do?
Well, when the gate guard came through the courtyard, I didn't intend to get in his way, but he really didn't see me, and I didn't make an effort to move. Of course, it was plausible he would have dropped his keys then. Some would say it could have appeared that way. But those keys I gave you, most of them were random scraps, in fact. The only one that mattered actually belonged to the guide.
Right, I came to that conclusion as well. What else did you have a hand in tonight?
Yeah, I mentioned I saw the student with the gemstone in the foyer, actually just after he had realized the doors had been locked down. According to the plan, I would not have known the student was involved, but from the balcony I noticed him and the punk setting up to steal the diamond.
You really were quite the orchestrator in all of this, huh? It seems like there's always another question for you to answer. About the punk. How did he get mixed up in all this?
When I caught wind of the Carter scheme, I formulated my own plan, but required assistance. I would need to hire a thief of my own, one who wouldn't know an impossible job even if it yanked their tail.
So what? You were going to carry out the Carter's heist and have someone else ruin it?
I had no other choice. It would have been more difficult and less successful if I had done the job myself. And the student, an interesting surprise. Actually, I only hired the punk, but apparently they were a package deal. They might have gotten away with it, hacking their way into the alarm systems, but I made sure those two hooligans would absolutely unravel under pressure. You did your part too, Detective. I can't thank you enough for that.
What was my part exactly?
Someone had to make sense of all this mess, follow the breadcrumbs all the way to the deep-seated injustices within. You really are as good as they say, you know that?
I'm not sure how to take that, but I think there might be a few details left to discuss before I close this case.
Whatever it takes, Detective.
I wish he was going to close the case, but we got 2 chapters left. Thank God. I can't believe there better not be another chapter, bro. Aha, I knew I was onto something. When I received the call, it says the final puzzle. It does say the final puzzle. When I received the call for this one, I never would have expected how deep it could go. I have all the major points covered now, but some of the suspects might have more to say about it. Maybe I should be open to interpreting this at more than face value, but technically I have enough information for the final verdict. I should be careful though. There's no going back once I make a decision. Ah, hail, there's another one?
Detective, I trust this investigation's going well.
She did. Of course. I have several things to discuss if you could. What? I read it wrong, probably. I just want to know what I read wrong. Wait a second. Having a stroke. No, that's a typo. They were giving me a stroke. Of course I have several things to discuss if we could. About today's events.
Go on then.
During. Certainly. About this case.
What about it? You've been at this for some time, and you're only testing my patience.
I apologize it's taking this long, but I'm quite the curious cat, you see. Not to say that you weren't helpful, but it seems you've kept certain details to yourself. In all honesty, if you had been more forthcoming, I may not have discovered what I did.
I'll just spill it out, will you? Enough with the theatrics!
You planned to have some of the museum's exhibits fenced, did you not? The museum has been struggling for years, and you need to pay off those debts.
You think I want to sell my collection to what? Some dingy back alley black market? Humph. How dare you assume so lowly of me, detective? Did I make some poor decisions in the past? Yes, of course I did. But I wouldn't ever stoop so low. And by poor decisions...
You mean signing a contract with Finnick Financial?
And the fallout afterward. It was my fault. I would have always admitted that. I let down my family, my staff, but my art. It was the last thing I truly had. I had to watch the investor waltz through here picking out pieces to decorate his office bathroom. The final shred of my soul would have died. Maybe it means nothing in the end, but... planning to have them sold to collectors, critics, other artists, historians, true appreciators of the craft. That's all I meant to do, and now it's all been ruined. I told you this museum was hinged on this, and now it will be all his. So finish writing whatever you must in that notebook of yours, and take me away before I witness it.
I wish you could save. I wish there were save files, bro. Why should I have to play through this again to do different endings? I'm sorry, but I will be considering this a confession. I may ask another clarifying question, but this case is all but closed.
I would expect nothing less.
I kind of just want to put the cat's name on it, but I've worked too hard. What if I just signed it and didn't put anybody? Actually, that old man is a criminal too, because he tried to kill somebody, so... Assault? Arrest every possible culprit. Yeah, it's all just different endings. When I arrived at the museum tonight, I didn't imagine I'd be leaving with more than half the suspects in cuffs, but here we are. From fraud scheme to heist plan, assault to petty theft, there isn't anything I can let slide here, no matter how minor. It's been quite the evening, but it's time to call this in and finally close the case. Man, I hate that you can't save in different places. So this is them, detective. The culprits behind our museum mystery. Great so. Any last words before the officer here takes you away?
I wouldn't dare sully the moment for you. In my heart, I knew I had my reasons. And moreover, I know I'll never be half the criminal of these fools.
Big talk for someone who's headed to the same doghouse as us, huh?
And you speak if you have not simply fallen into the play of the puppeteers. Oh yeah, what's that supposed to mean? Don't give us some holier than thou now. Oh man, this is going
This fool.
this is going to make for some amazing subscriber only content.
This fool. Oh, would you all just shut your dang traps already, humph?
Ugh, at least on that we can agree.
So that's it, detective. Case closed? Yeah, as it turns out, there's only one thing you can't keep in a museum, and that's the truth. Oh my god. Can't believe we finally beat it. Man, I really hate that you have to play all the way back through to get all the endings. That's crazy. I like the game, but I am definitely going to include in my review how much I hated that system. Grabby Hands is a mess. I'm glad she wasn't upset though, because she was kind of innocent. She's like the most innocent out of all of them. Nah. No. Nah. Thanks, we all did it. Like I said, depending on how long this video takes to edit for like the story end, and we might what we might do is grand reopening. I kind of wanted to put the bunny in jail, but she didn't do anything. What we might do before we start Shadow Hearts, once I get a video that has like everything edited where it's not gameplay, we'll try to see the other endings real quick because we can do all the answers. No, because we gotta talk to everybody, so we're not doing that. God, I hate that. Let me see if it'll let us continue. I doubt it, but... yeah. Yeah, if it doesn't let us continue, I'm really upset about that, because I think we have to unlock the words, too, which means we have to talk to everybody, which is really frustrating. Ah, Jesus Christ. That's pissing me off, bro. That pisses me off. Alright, guys. Well, I'm gonna call it here. God, that pisses me off, though. I think that's bad, too. I'm gonna put that in my review as well. I think that's really annoying, actually. But I like the game. Yeah, you gotta unlock all the words again, which means you have to talk to everybody, which means you have to do all the things all over again. Because there's no save file. That's really lame, bro. Granted, I doubt the endings change that much, but if you want 100%, that's crazy long. I did not play this game for 21 hours, I don't believe. Or are they just talking about Steam in general? No, I played way more than 20. I don't know, dude. Yeah, I'd give it a positive review for $10, but I'm definitely gonna complain about it. I'm gonna whine. Alright, guys. Have a good night, y'all. Hopefully I'll see you either later today or tomorrow. Bye!